And we are live. What's going on, y'all? You know what? It is Mr. Campbell. Say, Mr. Campbell, wait a minute. It's Thursday. It ain't HBCU Coaches Corner on Tuesday. It ain't sipping on Sundays on Sunday. What you doing on Thursday? Well, let me tell y'all something. See, me and Scotty, y'all don't know. That's my son. So me and him have a lot of conversations. Guess what? You'll be shocked that guess what? We talk more than just HBCU stuff. So we talk NBA, we talk NFL, talk Power 5. So you know what? On a Thursday, I said, you know what? We got to throw down. So that's what we got. So we got a new show that we might start called the Throwdown. But you know what, though? We get ready to throw down on one topic. And the Throwdown is basically going to be this, guys. It's going to be one topic that we're going to talk about. We're not going to be talking about no hot topics or anything like that. We're going to stick to one topic. And this topic is really going to be about the NBA, LeBron James, and free agency, because guess what? It's a lot of people talking. So, man, I'm going to say it right here. First of all, let me introduce the people that join me on this ride on the Throwdown. We're going to start with my boy, Herb, what's going on? HBCU Hoopsweekly. Herb, talk to the folks.
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good. Just these dog days of summer. Back on the road on the workforce. Scotty, I'm in your in your former neck of the woods in northernmost Moco, going to fresh.
Hey, yes, sir.
Yeah, man. I'm like
240, baby, 301. Yeah, we in there.
Yeah, man. Being a DC/PG County kid, that's odd. That's kind of what it is.
Hey, listen, man. Not everybody has the tax bracket to be in Moco. You know what I'm saying? They just...
Watch out, bro. There he is. That boy making some money, ain't
he? Man, listen, dude. My job takes me out past Clarksburg
that's different. That's different.
Man, Clarksburg is different.
That's different. Yeah, I remember when it first caught up, I was like. It was like the boonies, and now it's like all built up. That's crazy. Yeah.
Clarksburg, Boyd's out there by the outlet.
Yeah, it's crazy out there. It's nice. A lot of I call Maryland Townhouse City. Like you can find a townhouse in Maryland like nobody's business.
Man, listen.
Now, once again, you know what? He's working hard down at Alabama A&M, the university. But guess what, though, guys? They told him certain things he can't talk about, but they didn't say nothing about the NBA.
They did not
say anything about the NBA. So guess what? He's back. He's back.
He did not.
Y'all have no idea. I've been working on this because my boy been sitting up there. Hey, listen, let me tell y'all something. Because this I love this boy right here. But I know he'd be dying. He'd be wanting to get that microphone. He'd be like, Mr. Campbell. And you know what? Though? He got a family. He got to protect the net.
And I got a mortgage.
I got a mortgage. So there's nothing he can do that can get him in trouble because guess what? We're gonna talk about the NBA, the NFL, and we're gonna talk about this. So wait a minute. So look who done popped up. So see, and I'll say
listen, he's always good for a pop-up. Always good for a pop-up.
Just come to the cookout.
Man, I just wanted to remove that banner. I ain't got nothing to say. I'm just listening. I'm just listening, brother. That's all. I'm just doing some tech support. That's it.
That is. See, that's my guy. Look, HBCU Coach's Corner, Rocky Miller. Like I said, but Rocky, this is a real because Rocky. I saw your post that you said now you ain't a Laker fan. So we go out the.
Oh yeah. I need to find a new team, man. Soon as Braun make our decision, I'll have a new one.
So man, absolutely. So listen, man, we gonna get right into it because the news of the day. 8 years of Lakers. Scotty, super fan. LeBron. Guess what, man? The Lakers, LeBron said he wanted to move on. So I'm going to play this little clip to get us started right here. And then we're going to talk about it on the side because what I want to really know is you guys as fans, what do you think about what the Lakers have done? What do you think about LeBron's next move? But I want to kind of talk about this and let them set the table. So, Sham, he got everything going and everything. So let's pull this up right here. And let him talk about it. Here we go.
James, point blank, wanted an opportunity to go somewhere where he can have happiness. And what does happiness mean? Sources close to LeBron James told me a place where he can play meaningful basketball, can compete on a night-to-night basis. And we've seen the last couple of years, there's been a lot of changes come to this Lakers organization. So for LeBron James, the priority in leaving LA and going to a new home is finding that happiness and finding a place where he can compete at the highest level. I'm told this is not going to be a financially driven money-driven decision for LeBron James coming up. And then you get to the who of it all. I am told LeBron James will not be in a rush in his decision, but expect a dozen teams that are contending, teams that have aspirations to potentially go far in the playoffs. Reach out to LeBron James, express interest. 3 notable teams that everyone around the league is keeping an eye on with LeBron James: the Golden State Warriors, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Miami Heat. 2 of those teams LeBron James has already played for and has won championships with. Many more will be trying as well, and I expect Rich Paul is somewhere getting already pitches and offers as we speak.
Scotty, when you heard the news that, and I like to say this, that LeBron James broke up with the Lakers before they broke up with him, what was the first thing that you thought?
Honestly, I was shocked. I thought, if I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn that he said that he was going to end his career as a Laker. I could have sworn I heard him say that. I could have sworn somewhere he was like, hey, this is my last rodeo and things like that. So I was a little shocked. But as a LeBron, I want to be very clear to everybody out there. I am a Mavericks fan. That's my team. The Mavericks are my team. I am a LeBron fan. Okay, I just want to make that because, I want to make that delineation. I am a Mavericks. The Mavericks are my team, but I'm a LeBron fan. So I feel like Rocky, as we make our decision, right? As which honestly, I was talking to one of my coworkers. I was like, it would be dope if he called it the last decision. That would be fire, like a series called the last.
Listen.
Just saying, LeBron paid me for that. All right, so, but overall, it's kind of his stilo, so I can't get too mad. If we're being honest, this is LeBron's stilo. I know we'll get into where he will go, where we think he'll go, but overall, I'm kind of glad he left the Lakers. I really wasn't a fan of him being on the Lakers. I'm just not a Lakers guy, honestly. So, good riddance. That's my good riddance to the Lakers.
Herb,
man,
when you saw the news, now you're a basketball guy. When you saw the news that LeBron James broke up with the Lakers before they could break up with him, what did you think about it?
I mean, it was expected, to me. I mean, I'm
you ain't got no sound, Herb.
Oh, damn. Can you hear me? Testing.
I can hear him.
Oh, I can't hear him.
Yeah. Guys, in check. Can you guys hear Herb?
I'm gonna log out and log back in.
Okay. Yeah, because Herb, I can hear you.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, man, to me, it was expected. I mean, especially with some of the moves the Lakers made in the last couple of years. I think people need to understand a couple of things. One, regardless of how great LeBron James is, and he's, and look, I mean, he's arguably in the top 3 right now in terms of all-time greats, for real talk at this point. But, age catches up with everybody. And particularly with the way the league is going, you have a guy that is, he absolutely right. He led the league in fast break points at 40. At the same time, league leaderships, team leaderships don't care about that. They're always looking for, one, caps, getting rid of cap, their finances, balancing those books, and getting younger. That's something that has always been the MO for the league. Now, I'm not saying that's a driving factor here, because I think out of all people, I think LeBron James has, kind of effectively, laid the groundwork where he can make his own decisions on his own terms, at any point in time. But, wherever he goes, you're going to have to, keep a couple of things in mind. One, there's not a lot that doesn't happen with LeBron James not having the ball in his hands and being, ball dominant. Whether he's initiating offense, whether he's getting other people involved in plays, especially with the nature of the league. He dominates a lot of offensive possession, on that side of the floor, with the ball in his hands. He's a hell of a facilitator, always has been. So wherever he goes, that's something that's going to be in mind. I can see him going back to Cleveland. I can see him going back.
No,
to
wait.
Cleveland.
No, hold on. You getting too far ahead.
That's what Herb do. That's what Herb do.
Yep.
See,
Hold on. Slow down.
you see how I did, right?
Yep.
I let my opinion
No.
go, and
Yeah, because I got a whole setup because I literally have the list of teams. So I want to stick on this point right here.
My bad.
Yeah, no, that's okay. But see, Herb, listen, the one thing about, and I'll have to, I got to make the joke because guess what? We're on the Offscript channel. It's the Throwdown. Me, Scotty, Herb, Rocky Miller channel. Guess what? Because we let Herb talk over here. So that's all right. Herb, I know you get excited when you come over here with your boy. So it's okay.
It's
okay. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Listen, we let you talk. So yeah, man. So the thing about it, and I just want to say my piece. I wasn't shocked because it was so obvious they wanted to get up off of LeBron and that cap and move forward and let Luka have that team. But the one thing about it, and I think this reminds me, you guys, it's got I'll ask you this question. You know what? It reminds me of two things. It reminds me of Peyton Manning, even though he had gotten hurt.
With the coach.
The coach like, we got a new shiny toy. And they, now this is Peyton Manning going out the door. And for whatever the reason, and I still don't, because he was playing at a high level, Tom Brady leaving the Patriots and going to Tampa.
That was crazy. That was crazy.
So when I saw this, because you got to understand something for LeBron. This has got to be the first time ever in his life of playing basketball where they don't want you. This got to be.
I think the thing with the I don't want you is I think Laker fans never really accepted him. So it was never really like their guy. You know what I'm saying? He never really was their cup of tea. So it's one of those things where you guys just tolerate. When you're dating a girl, you're just tolerating her. You know what I'm saying? Like she tolerating you tolerating her because we got a lease together, right? Like, once this lease over, we go. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's really boiled down to with the Lakers and LeBron. It's like the lease is up. Let's just part ways. Let's just no harm, no foul. We'll part ways. Now, do I think LeBron leaving the Lakers make them a better team? No. But hey, they're the Lakers. They'll figure it out. So that's where I'm at with it.
Herb, what do you think? I think you got something to say. So, and I'm just going to add on this. I think when LeBron came, and I think there was two things, because you got to remember the timeline. Kobe just retired. And I think that, and you remember, this is the time him and Kobe were challenging each other. And I think you had people that Kobe's the best player in the league, and then you had the LeBron people. And I think the Kobe people never, to Scott's point, ever accepted LeBron.
Yeah, I agree.
Never.
I think that's
so. So go ahead, Herb. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I agree with that point. I don't think Kobe under any world of circumstances was going to be a hard act to follow for anybody. When we're not even talking about the fact that how he passed tragically, and the effect that left on that fan base. But yeah, man, I mean, it is what it is. I think you made a really good point in the sense that, they saw the writing on the wall. It's the end of the road. Might as well leave, with both parties, on good terms. Somebody mentioned in the chat, about Anthony Davis, and LeBron going to Golden State. That ain't happening. I don't see that.
How he keep skipping? How he keep jumping over the points? Herb be taking. We not there yet, Herb.
I was just responding to the guys because I saw it scroll up on the screen. I wanted to respond. I'm not skipping the point, man. I just don't. I think, but yeah, like I was saying. Damn.
We fast over here, Herb.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I like I said, man, I think it is what it is. And I think you made a really good point. Kobe is a hard act to follow for anybody, much less somebody, coming in with their own legacy and their own, stardom or / fandom that you want to, kind of make it about. Now that didn't help, the graphic you just put up here. When he first got
Yeah,
there,
and I'm gonna set that up in a second. Hold on, and let me tell you something. You let me tell you something. See, this is why I know you don't know basketball and what's going on. The Buss family does not own the Lakers anymore.
They do not.
The owners of the Dodgers. So yeah, the Busses, yes, they might have thought that. So you're a year late. So no, I am right because that Dodger owner. Listen, you go look at how many Dodgers he swept out. So I pulled this up right here because I thought this was interesting. Because the next question I want to get, what do you guys think LeBron's Laker legacy was? Because one of the things, and this is the thing that just blew my mind what I saw. Should LeBron get a statue? So I said, no, wait a minute now. Magic got 5,
bruh.
Got 5, Jerry Western logo.
What are we doing?
So I wanted to pull this
up. Is this a conversation really?
Hey, listen, we gotta have it. We gotta have it. So this was the years. And let me make sure. See, I can make this as big as possible without. This is what LeBron's years were. So he was there for 8 years. So his first year, 37-45. Next year, this was the bubble year. They won the NBA title. Next year, first round loss. Missed the playoffs, 2021-22. And this is when they really broke down when they brought Westbrook. And they really weren't happy about that. And I think Melo was on that team. This was when they had the nice seed, lost in Western Conference Finals, 22-23. Lost in the first round again. Lost in the first round. This was Luka's first year. And then lost in the Western Conference semis. Scotty, 8 years of LeBron. You're a LeBron fan. What do you think his legacy was with the Lakers?
Average. It's probably his worst stint. If we're being, think about all that, this has probably been his worst stint as an NBA player in his career, and that's counting the first go around with the Cavs. So it's to see to anybody else's standard, that's not bad. But when you combine it with LeBron and it being the Lakers, that's average. That's average. It's really below average, for being honest, right? Because missing the playoffs ain't bad. Because I want to know let the Kobe fans. Let's not forget Smush Parker, and let's not forget that.
And the Lakers had lost. And mind you, I want to just add your point. They had missed the playoffs the previous 5 to 6 years.
So let's until he got those 2 twin towers with Paul Gasol and the other tall boy was Andrew Bynum. Until he got those 2 tall Bamas, he wasn't winning anything by himself. So I want to be very clear about that. So all them Kobe Bryant, he's a Laker through and through. He was sucking too. Okay, when he wasn't carrying the team like people like to say he was. But to the standard of the Lakers and to the standard of LeBron James, it was average.
Herb, what do you think? Statue for LeBron, 8 years?
Nah. He was mid, I mean, for the duration of the time. I mean, even that championship they won, it's always going to have an asterisk by it because, it's the bubble. You know what I'm saying? So, again, it is what it is. There's a lot of, hope when he came there. But if you're asking, people that are outside of Laker fandom, whether that was worth it, as somebody that's outside of that fandom, nah, it was mid at best. I think, and that's something that I think is going to, roil a lot of people that are more so LeBron fans than simply Laker fans. Because Laker, like I said, to a T, most of the Laker fans are like, okay, yeah, great, peace out, homie. We'll see. We'll talk to you later. But yeah, if you're talking about the sum of his Laker career in terms of whether that's worth a statue, nah, not even close. I don't see it.
You're muted.
So this kind of leads in. So ESPN kind of talked about this, and then this is going to lead into the next discussion about where she should go. I'm going to play this video and then get you guys on the other side to see what you guys think about what they said about LeBron's legacy here.
Made a point that resonated with us early in the show about LeBron's legacy not being tied to a team, but rather to his
I
own
can't hear
identity.
it. Is it playing? Can y'all hear it?
Considered to
guys
potentially
can't hear
become the first player in NBA history to win a championship with 4
I can
different
hear
teams.
it.
You think that's something that
That's on me then. You go ahead, finish up, Mr. Campbell. There's no biggie.
Okay.
I already watched it on Get Up this morning. I watched it.
he might be factoring in?
I don't know if that is because he already believes that he has checked off every sort of box. I think the greater thing is that when we associate Michael Jordan, we associate him with that red and black. When you see purple and gold, you think of Magic Johnson or Kobe Bryant. When you think of LeBron James, you don't think of a jersey. You think of LeBron as a singular franchise, as a player who has gone to these different places and has stamped his mark in these places, but ultimately is not of these places. He is of himself. And I don't mean that as a selfish thing. I mean that as a very freeing thing. Like, he had no problem going to Kobe Bryant's franchise. He had no problem going to Dwayne Wade's franchise. Whatever norms and rules that we have had in sports, don't go and play with your rivals. Don't go and play with someone that you played with before. Like, all those things, he breaks all the rules because he is of himself. And I think that is, for better or worse, that is his enduring legacy, is that he is his own franchise.
I think.
What do you guys think about that statement?
I mean, I think he makes a good point. You know, I mean, the closest he probably came to, you know, being immediately identified with a franchise is probably Cleveland. You know, because, I mean, that's where he's from. You know, his first go around, you know, it was a prodigal son, cut him a home, got him a title, you know, and then, you know, after that, you know, he kind of lost that. He didn't have that type of, you know, identification with the city of Miami. You know, he didn't have that type of identification with the city of LA. You know, it's just, you know, I think there's a lot of truth to what, you know, that guy in the interview kind of laid out. You know, like I said, I think the closest place that he came to doing that was Cleveland. And that was because, like I said, you know, there's a lot of other factors that go along with that. You know, him being from Akron, you know, like I said, coming home, so to speak, you know, bringing the hometown franchise his first, you know, really first championship in I think ever. So, you know, I mean, in my opinion, that's, you know, I think that's the closest. You're not going to, you know, if anybody is going to say, well, I identify LeBron James as a Laker through and through, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. You know, I mean, I think somebody in the chat, you know, mentioned, you know, people judging Shaq. Shaq is more of a Laker than LeBron could probably think of. And that has everything to do with the fact that he was part of one of the best tandems in playoff history, you know, as a Laker. You know, Shaq and Kobe, those are Lakers. You know, people talk about the Lakers. There are certain personalities that they talk about. There are certain players they talk about. You know, Kobe being one, Shaq being another. You know, Shaq is, you think of centers, you think of, you know, Kareem, and then you think of Shaq in terms of Lakers centers.
Yeah. So, guys, here's the thing. So, LeBron's next move. So, I've got, you know, ESPN has got a couple of teams. Now, we've heard the teams, the Golden States, the Miamis, go back home to Cleveland. Now, all of a sudden, and, you know, Brian Windhorst said, what can a team do to really attract LeBron? The big move with Philly, bringing in Jaylen Brown. So I'm going to pull this up, kind of talk about their pros and cons when we talk about this on the other side. And what you guys think of where LeBron should go. So this one right here, when I first heard this, and Golden State, but here's what they say. Golden State Warriors check all the boxes for James, maintain strong relationships with Steph Curry and Draymond Green, longtime rivals. They won the gold medal, you know, at the Olympics. Golden State will be practical for LeBron. He put down roots in Los Angeles. So basically he could go live in LA, you know, commute to the Bay Area, join the Warriors organization with a reputation accommodating the stars. The Warriors, like the Lakers, are a glamour franchise. But the cons. While Green declined his player option this week, is a move that could potentially cause Golden State to build a sign James. The Warriors have big contracts on their books with Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Porzingis, which was interesting on the re-sign when I saw that. which kind of let me know, even though they can move Jimmy Butler, I'll talk a little bit about that to get AD. So basically, in other words, James will be looking at Steve Pagan, which he talked about, that he's not looking for money. He's looking for fit, which we heard about. And then also, too, the age of this team in the West. So, guys, let's talk about this team and this fit right here. Well, let me bring Scotty back on. There you go. Herb, we'll start with you. Keep it short because we're going to roll around. What do you think about his fit with Golden State?
Too old, man. It's too old.
Herb, speak up a little bit, too, because people said they can't hear your mic.
Testing. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, just speak up a little bit.
He's in testing.
Hey, man, force of habit.
Yeah.
Okay, back up off me.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is age, man. You know, I think, you know, yeah, I agree. It would be fun to watch, but, you know, you got to think about what that age translates to, you know, in turn, you know, during a full season. You know, you got another year, you know, Steph Curry, you know, obviously Steph, you know, has got skills, you know, age, you know, that are ageless in terms of shooting and putting the ball in the basket. But yeah, I don't know, man. That to me is something that is, you know, it's you know, it's precarious. Yeah. You know, and that's the other thing too. Somebody mentioned the trade for AD to Washington. Washington ain't doing that. Washington, you know, Washington's building a young core there with the Vance and some of those kids they got coming in, and I think AD and those guys are starting to buy into it. And Trey, you know, I don't see that translating to wins immediately, but you know, I see that as a more amicable destination for Davis as opposed to going back west.
Yeah.
You know,
Scotty, what do you think? You got Golden State down the road, Steph Curry. They said I always want to play together. What you think?
One, I think everybody who hates LeBron is going to confirm why they hate him because of stuff like that. Like that's really for real. Like that's like it's he's the guy that goes to the court and he's like, oh, I'm just gonna wait till the good team is available. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't just jump on and play. You gonna sit and wait. Hey man, can we pick you up? Nah, I'm gonna wait for them. Like, it's come like, man, just play ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the issue with people who hate LeBron. They're gonna be like, that's all he does is running. He run. Because if you just look at it from his time at Miami to going back, because people don't forget when he went back to the second stint for the Cavaliers, they had Andrew Wiggins. And he made them trade Andrew to get Kevin Love because he didn't want to deal with a young squad, right? So now you got Kevin. He built that team to what it was, and then you go to the Lakers, and then you get rid of the young guys,
Lonzo, Brandon Ingram,
and all them.
Randall.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't think people realize how many people were on that squad that are still in the league based off of that trade.
I can't hear you, Mr. Campbell. I don't know what's up with my sound.
Not just in the league, but in the league and producing. That's the big thing. You know,
Herb, can you hear me clear?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you clear.
Yeah, I know you can. I don't know what it is, but that's why I keep coming in and out. But I'm gonna just finish my point. I'm gonna jump in and out. So, going back to the Warriors, right? For me, is this the reason it fits LeBron is because he doesn't have to teach championship culture. He doesn't have to teach what it means to be a champion. He doesn't have to, you know, put somebody under his wing, and he don't got to do none of that. It's day one is championship or bust if you go to the Warriors, and everybody knows it. Everybody's okay with the expectations, and that's a LeBron type team. I 100% agree with Herb. That shit's nursing home old. Okay, like that. You can't keep up with none of the young guys that's going to be ripping and running around there.
Boy,
and at the end of the day,
emu right there, boy.
Dog, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then at the end of the day, I think if I'm Washington, I do make the trade for AD because I'd rather take the younger piece of Jimmy Butler and move him later than the old beat down, always hurt, can't do a full season AD. Because you already know what AD gonna give you 40 games. He gonna get hurt most of the season. Then you get him in the playoffs. He gonna play one series. He gonna get hurt in the series. And he ain't gonna be there no more. So you might as well let that just be the Warriors' issue. You get younger. You get Jimmy Butler, who's an asset, a veteran. And then maybe move him later for some pieces. But Yeah, I would definitely trade. I would trade AD so damn fast, boy. But I'm gonna jump off and I'm gonna jump back on and see if I can get some sound.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So go ahead, Herb. Go ahead.
No, I was saying I get where Scotty's coming from, and I agree to an extent. I just think it's a wash either way because, you know, we're talking about Jimmy Butler being younger, but he ain't that much younger. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So
probably like 2 years, probably.
Yeah, that's kind of, you know, to me that's kind of a wash. You know, and I think for what Washington has, you know, they already guard heavy. You know, you got Trey in that backcourt. You know, you got, you know, a lot of younger pieces that are really, really rounding in the four, Bub Carrington, some of those cats. But yeah, man, you know, like I said, I think that's a wash. If they do that trade, it's, you know, it's one, you know, it's one Asian vet for another Asian vet in my eyes.
Well,
You know.
I'm going to come from the agent side, so I always look at the numbers. Here's the thing: if you got, here we go, add Scotty back, move that. So one of the things that you got to remember, if Washington does this trade, they do this trade for cap relief, because what would happen is if they trade Jimmy Butler, this is his last season. So you're talking about $50 million. You trade AD, you get that $50 million, you don't re-sign Jimmy Butler. Now you got $50 million of cap space. And then you go try to find another young guy, a young big that's out there with $50 million. Then now you've got the band, to your point, we ain't going to get on Washington too much, but I'm just using your example of Star, the Banzer, Trey White, and then you get another young guy again. Because case in point, and I'll just make this because I want to keep this. Because here's the thing. You already hear in New York talking about they don't want to pay Karl Anthony Towns his money. So you start doing that, he's up for an extension.
Crazy.
So does he come on down I-95? You know what I mean? If they would make that move. If I'm Washington and I'm sitting up here doing this. Again, now here's the thing. Just on the last part about that. Rich Paul, only way he gets paid is to get an extension for AD. So if he comes to the Warriors, it's going to be because they're going to give him an extension, which I wouldn't do, to your point anyway. So now, next team that they said, which I think, shout out to A Willa 38, fam, you were in the house. She just said it, and we're getting ready to pull it up. She said he's going to the Cavs. I don't think he's going, but let's talk about the pros and cons about the Cavs and what they got, what ESPN has, pros and cons. So, of course, we all know local hero, hometown boy, be his third stint. And then this is the thing where I thought about and I really want to hear you guys, because one of the things is two things about this. Where does LeBron play? Where does he fit? But they said Cleveland could use his playmaking size and playoff experience because how they were swept by the Knicks. Because Ken Atkinson was like, we played really good because of analytics, but I never known analytics to ever win a series. So again, that's one of the things. And then, of course, it gives them a little bit more size in the backcourt. So they said, one executive said, Cleveland will be representing Cleveland's fit. I don't believe that, but it's the cons. Would James leave California Charms in the adjusted roster of new faces he hasn't previously played with, Mitchell Harden, Mobley, and Jared Allen? Cleveland took a step back in the chemistry department last season after the sensational 2024 campaign, and Kenny Atkinson struggled at times as a game manager in the East Finals. Though Atkinson's been an NBA head coach assistant, this will be his first time working with James. Scotty, back home, the Akron kid, does he go back to Cleveland?
I say no. It's not enough star power. You ain't got too much left in the tank. I can't take a risk because, first of all, you can't trust James Harden. Let's just keep it a buck. And you can't trust James. And then on top of that, I love Donovan Mitchell. I think if I was James, I would ask. If I was LeBron, I would ask him to trade James Harden and get somebody. That's just me personally. I'm just not a fan. He ain't never done nothing. Now you can treat James Harden like you treated Kyrie Irving. Teach him how to win. Teach him how to manage the game. Teach him how to be relevant. In the game 6s and game 7s. But I think, man, it's hard for a leopard to change their spots. And for right now, Harding is a walking problem in game 6s and game 7s. He just never shows up. So to me, I don't think that's something that you would put on LeBron. If I'm LeBron, I'm going to put on myself. Because again, I'm 42. I ain't trying to do too much. He's trying to do just enough to win a championship. And I think he has to do too much at Cleveland.
Herb, what do you think? Back home, is it a fairy tale? He goes back home, leads Cleveland to the finals against the young guns in the West?
Nah. I don't see it, man. I I think Scotty made a really good point in the sense that, LeBron has a thing about, having to teach people around him how to win. And, I think him going home and particularly having to deal with Harden, if him and Harden are on the same roster along with Donovan Mitchell, I don't see that. I don't see that meshing at all. We're not even going to get on the fact that Harden is like a walking, dumpster fire defensively in anybody's championship series. So I can see how that would, just immensely piss that dude off. But yeah, I don't see it. I think there's just, there's some, don't get me wrong, there's some pretty impressive pieces there at Cleveland, under different circumstances. If he was coming back, I could see it, but with the way it's made up, and again, Harden is the big name that's on the roster that is a liability, and as long as he's on that roster, I don't see those two coexisting in the same spot.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I'm gonna keep it moving because I want to get to the next through. Everybody wants this fairy tale. LeBron comes back to Cleveland, but I don't like the fit of the team. I don't like the fit. Like I say, if they had another small forward, move LeBron to the point, Donovan Mitchell at the 2, get rid of Harden. Now, which is the crazy thing is Harden opted out of his contract to re-sign a long-term deal. So here's the funny thing. If Cleveland wanted, let's just say, because we know LeBron, let's just say, I'll come, but Harden, I can't play with him. They got the out because listen. Now think about this maneuver. And I don't know what piece would be, you know what I'm saying, what LeBron is out there, but let's just say a 3-and-D guy or a really good defensive guy, because that's what they would need, you know what I mean, to fit that team. The opportunity, and what's crazy, because Harden opted out, they could give LeBron a little bit more money. So he could get a little bit more money, kick Harden out to you guys who I think we all agree. Well, you know what? Hey, sign Rui. You know what I mean? You could do that for a little bit of money. And you probably could get another guy with to fit on the Harden, because according to LeBron, he's taking low money. I like that. If you had Rui, Jared Allen, Mobley, LeBron, and Donovan Mitchell, I think you got something there. I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
I think the question that goes is, can you win a championship with LeBron being your number 2? That's the only question. Can you win a championship with LeBron being your number 2?
Yeah. And that leads me. So you know what? That's a great tease, because that leads me to the next team where he would not have to be the number 2. So let's talk about where I think that this is why I think he should go, but I'm gonna let you guys go. I think he should go to this squad right here, the Miami Heat. And Scott, as you talked about it, James' previous stint with the Heat was the most successful of his career. We know he won 2, went to the final 4 straight years. And of course, they got the Godfather, Pat Riley. And as a lot of people think in the NBA, Eric Spoelstra is one of the best coaches. He knows how to deal with LeBron. And guess what? They got Giannis down there. They lost Tyler Hero. Norman Powell just signed with Chicago. But guess what? You got Bam Adebayo. Also, you got, and don't forget this, they didn't say this, Andrew Wiggins is down there. So now, the cons, where Antetokounmpo and James be able to get the most out of each other, Antetokounmpo star partnership, which I don't even think this is not even comparable. Damian Lillard, Spudderman, I don't even think that's comparable. James never seemed fully satisfied with his reduced offensive role with Luka Doncic as arriving in Los Angeles. Style of play could be another tension. Antetokounmpo is his best when he can get downhill, while James more comfortable controlling the games at this stage. I think right here, the Miami Heat will be the team, because, Scotty, to your point, I think what LeBron could do is what he did to the Olympics. He could pick and choose, and when it was time for LeBron to be LeBron, he got it going. And then, Steph, you know what? You go ahead and take it home. But I'm gonna get this 15 minutes in, and this at LeBron. Think about this in the Olympics. All these guys, and they still said LeBron was the best best player on the team because of the way he facilitates. Scotty, what do you think about him going back down to Miami?
I really pondered on this. If I had I would say this isn't my number one choice. It would be like my number two choice. Because to me, with positionless basketball, you talking about a 3, 4, and 5 that I mean, like, that's just ridiculous.
Yes.
Like, if you think about LeBron at the 3, Bam at the 4, Giannis at the 5, and the way how versatile Bam and LeBron can play, that is unreal. The only issue, there's no point guard.
That's facts.
There's no point guard. Like,
There's no
and
point guard.
you're not going to ask LeBron at 42 to be the point guard for 82 games. You just ain't going to do that, right?
Yeah.
So I need a point guard. I need some, because you can find guys that can shoot. You can find guys that can do 3 and D, but you need a facilitator and that can coordinate and smart. Like, if they could just get a Rondo and put him on, man.
Well,
Lord
let me ask you this, and I don't know how, and Herb might know this, but I'm glad you said
Why
that.
does my sound keep going?
So I'm going to throw this out here, and hopefully, Scotty, you can hear this. Let me know if you can hear this, because I want to get your point, but Herb, I want to get this. Portland has a plethora of guards sitting up
that's
there.
what I was thinking about.
You got Scoot Henderson, you got Drew Holiday. That, again, now, Scotty, to your point, Scoot would be young, not experienced, but doesn't, because he's around these veterans, can he be like Mario Chalmers was? That took that beating from Dwayne Wade and LeBron to be just a functional, and Scoot is a better offensive player to me. Let me, Scott, bring it back. Scoot is a much better offensive player. So there's Portland out there that's got this plethora of guards. And like I say, Drew Holiday, maybe they probably can't afford, because he would want top dollar, because he's a top dollar steal guy. But if Scoot Henderson, who's still on a rookie contract, what do you think? So, Herb, what do you think? LeBron to Miami?
Yeah, a couple of things. I think that's, of all the choices we've talked about to this point, that's the best personnel match possible for a lot of the reasons that you and Scotty kind of laid out. The 3 and 4 and 5 positions, in terms of the versatility that would offer the league, is ridiculous. LeBron can run point forward in spots, but he's not gonna be running that. The good thing about that, though, is that there are just so many really, really good point guards that are in the league right now, and not just point guards that are unattainable, but point guards you could get on the cheap. You know what I'm saying? So it's, to me, if I'm LeBron and I'm looking at potential places that I want to go and make an impact and win and have the pieces to actually make that a reality, Miami would probably be at the top of the list. Of course, the requirement would be, hey, look, we need to find a point guard. You know what I'm saying? If we're going to go. And I like Scoot. I love Scoot Henderson. Scoot Henderson's got a ton of potential.
Yeah.
Heck, you got point guards on the rosters of just about every squad in the East, that could conceivably, just plug and play and really make an impact. And it doesn't have to be a big name to do it. You're not gonna. Yeah, in fact, I would avoid doing that. I know people are talking about, they're floating Ja's name, across the, in certain circles in terms of trade bait for certain places. But I wouldn't go to a big name. I'd take a really serious look at some of these rosters and who they can get rid of for trade space, cap space, and shop there, because there's just a lot of really good point guard talent in the league right now. So this squad made me think about Scott. The young guns.
I don't know why I can't hear you, Mr. Campbell. I'm gonna have to get back out and come back.
Okay. In. No problem. So this is when I saw this. The Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards. Shout out to Anthony Edwards, Georgia's finest. LaMelo Ball, and Anthony Edwards was the one co-signed this trade because him and LaMelo are really good friends. Got a point guard. You got Anthony Edwards, as they want to say, the next face of the league, superstar. But they lost a lot of people on the front line with Julius Randle, Nas Reed in trades. But you still got Rudy Gobert. and you still have McDaniels. That's the small forward, right? Herb McDaniels,
Right.
yeah. So you could go LeBron, McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, LaMelo Ball, and Anthony Edwards. Now, mind you, this is the same team again that has gone to the conference finals last couple of years. So now, just kind of looking at it, James said, talking about he's a longtime fan of Anthony Edwards. And he's saying with Ball and James on board, the Timberwolves roster will be more championship ready on paper than any other point in Edwards' career, including during his trips to the Western Conference Final 24 and 25. If James wants a shot at fifth ring, he'd do a lot worse than Minnesota, which I thought was interesting. But the cons, leaving Los Angeles for Minnesota with culture shock, I totally agree. James must decide whether he would benefit from a lot of offensive load, which I don't think LeBron is trying to go average. And I keep hearing this. I don't think LeBron is trying to go average 27 a game. I think he wants a lighter load when I hear this. And then also, too, Minnesota, they don't have one of those big billionaires with a whole bunch of money. That's the reason why Karl Anthony Towns not on this team, because Alex Rodriguez and this guy Mark Lloyd have bought the team, and they don't have those deep pockets. So Edwards, Ball, and Gobert are already on the books for $126 million, though the money is believed as a top priority. James would like to receive better financial offers. Let's see if Scotty back. Scotty, you back?
Yeah, I can hear you. Let me tell
Scott,
you.
I'm gonna start with you.
This is my 1B. This is my 1B team right here.
Okay. You know what? Hold on. I know you so well. When I saw this, I said, watch. See, because you think out the box, and you listen. So let me tell you something, y'all. Once again, this is the Throwdown on Thursday night. Offscript, we got him on. Like I say, he ain't on no budget. He can come on and do what he wants to do. Got my man Herb right here on HBCU Hoops Weekly, man. We're talking LeBron. We're talking free agency. But here's the thing. Let me tell you something about me and Scott. And I know like the back of my hand. Anything old, he want to throw him out. Anything young, put him on the shelf. So go make a case for the young boy, Scotty. Go ahead.
Listen. I love this team. The only hiccup, the only reason it's a 1B is because defensively, they would be a liability. They ain't got Nas Reed. Melo's not a great defender, but Rudy Gobert is a great rim defender. He's not going to ask to get the ball. You got Melo and Ant that can take a lot of load off of LeBron. You just got to find – this is the type of team you got to find your Josh Hart. You got to find your Rui. You got to find, those in-between pieces that just – they know they roll. But LaMelo and Ant – because Ant's done it by himself. Like, let's be –
by himself.
He's done it by himself. So – I love this team. I just don't think he wants to go to Minnesota.
Yeah.
But gosh darn it, this is my 1B team right here. If he went to Minnesota, I would be all on board. Choo choo. I'm on that train.
Okay, Herb. You a little bit, you ain't the Gen X like me. Go ahead and make the case for the young boys.
Man,
what you think?
I think that's I think Scotty makes some pretty good points about Minnesota's roster. I just don't think they recover from losing Julius Randle, Nas Reed,
right.
And some of those other pieces, man. It just that changes the entire defensive makeup of that team. And Julius Randle, wherever he's been at, he's been an X factor. That dude is so, he's such a good two-way player. I mean,
where did he go?
I'm trying to.
Julius got traded.
He got traded
to.
I can't remember right.
Wait a minute, because he was not in the Charlotte trade. He went to the Nets.
He went to the Nets. Yeah, and I mean, and I'll be honest with you, man. I'm still looking at the Hornets sideways for letting LaMelo Ball go. In terms of that core, that young core talent they had there, man, I don't get it. But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that happen in Minnesota. Somebody just posted that the Wizards reached out to LeBron today. I'm like, man, don't do that, please don't.
He's not doing that. There's no way he's doing that.
And not just from a, as a Wizards, as a long, lifelong suffering Wizards fan. I just don't see that. I don't see the culture fit, and I don't see the match for it. But Yeah, I mean, I would like to see that. I still think Miami is probably the best place from a personnel standpoint where you can land at, because it's just, you know, that versus. Well, yeah, Rocky, we know that's that's kind of why why we were so happy to get to win the lottery, bro, and get AJ down there, man. We slowly putting it back together at some point, but yeah, I mean, I just don't. Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah.
I can see, I can see Minnesota, and I can see Miami. I mean, just because from a personnel standpoint, that makes the most sense. Miami in particular, man. Like I said, that 3, 4, and 5 interchangeability with those guys there would be crazy. It's nuts.
I'm gonna talk about this last team. I saw this, and I thought this was interesting, and I'm just gonna get right to it. So you're talking Joker, Murray, Aaron Gordon. So again, you're talking about a guy that can play the high post, low post pass, great passer. Him and LeBron pass on the front court. What do you guys think about the Denver Nuggets with the perennial MVP Joker and Jamal Murray?
This is my third team. I'm not uberly excited. Jamal Murray, to me, kind of took a step back last year. He wasn't the Jamal Murray we had seen when they won the championship. So what his bounce back look like? Jokic is Jokic. You understand? You know what you're getting with that. But I just the team doesn't excite me. Like, it doesn't. It wouldn't. And the West is hard. Like, like, let's keep it a buck. Like, you gotta go through San Antonio. You gotta go. I mean, it's not hard, but it's just like you gotta compete with OKC. You gotta compete with San Antonio. You gotta see those guys. And this team with LeBron, to me, doesn't put you over the edge of an OKC or a San Antonio. So yeah, it's like okay for me.
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see Denver for a couple of reasons. One, him and Jokic kind of occupy the same space offensively, meaning that they facilitate a lot of people. The teams run a lot of offense through them. They got to have the ball in their hands, to facilitate and be a catalyst for other people. Jokic does it a different way. LeBron, can initiate offense at the top of the key in half-court situations. But you can't, again, it's one of those situations, you can't really rely on that for an entire season. And I know he's looking at the fact that, I could do it for 40 games or so, but who wants to do that for the entire season? I want to be able to expend the least amount of energy and wear and tear to get to a championship. And I simply don't see that happening if he went to Detroit. I mean, not Detroit, but Denver, simply because, like I said, they offensively occupy the same types of space. And defensively, that's, again, an issue. So,
that's been Denver's problem, defense, right? That they just can't put a defensive team around, Joker. And that's when and that was the one thing. What's my guy that they lost and he went to Orlando? He played for the Lakers. It'll come to me in a second. But one of the defensive guys that played guard. So when you lose that defense and you bring LeBron in, I think you're going to score a lot of points. But as we well know, and this is what has kicked Denver out of the playoffs last 2 years, defense. So with that being said, we're going to wrap up with LeBron because we got
whoa. Philadelphia.
You know what? I'm glad you said that because actually I was going to. So you know what? Let me do this. Okay,
that's my 118.
Yeah, hold on. So I was going to tie it in, but you know what? Though, let's do this. Let's play something because I was going to tie it in on the next subject to kind of go into that, but we can tie that in. It'll lead into that anyway. So you just said it. A new team has popped up after this list was made.
Now I can see
that.
And
it's those Philadelphia 76ers. Sean, what you got to say about this? Oh, hold on. I bet you'll be a commercial watch. Hold on a second. Let me see. I should have booted it up. It'll probably be a commercial. Watch. Yes, I had. Hold on one second. Let me take that down while the ad plays. But no, I want to talk about that. So, Philadelphia, when you're talking about Maxey, Edgecombe, Brown, Embiid,
Healthy Embiid, if healthy.
Embiid. Well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you like this, and as this is getting ready to get, you know what? I don't even need a healthy Embiid. I need Embiid to just be ready for the playoffs. Because with this line, because here's the thing with this lineup, and we're going to get into this because this is going to really tie into what we're talking about. This is when you do load management with Embiid. You know what? I'm going to make you play the TV games to look good, and the rest of us can beat the teams at the bottom. Because if you go on LeBron, because let's be clear, Jaylen Brown is going to try to win the MVP on somebody's ass. I don't care what nobody says. Let's be clear. Because the level of disrespect, and we're going to get into that because I'm super excited to talk about this. Let me see if we got this thing ready to go. Okay, it's almost done. But when you're talking about the level, you're talking about Tyrese Maxey who could score. Like you say, Embiid, LeBron, Edgecombe, who now is looking like, where do I fit in?
That guard rotation is ridiculous.
That right there, Scotty. What do you think? Go ahead, and we'll get in that. Go ahead.
It is that if I'm LeBron, it is a no-brainer.
Yeah,
it's a excuse me, it's an absolute no-brainer because I got a point guard that can put the ball in the bucket, can facilitate. I got a two guard that can get as hot and streaky as anybody in the league. I got Jaylen Brown, who's a veteran champion, finals MVP. All LeBron got to do is manage the game. Like, that's literally all he has to do. He doesn't have, and he can play power forward. He can play three. He can play whatever. If you want to go small, you can go with him at the four and probably get another a backup big to protect Embiid or whatever. But to me, it's a no-brainer. I'm going to 76ers.
I'm going to play. Here we got the video up. I'm going to play this video real quick.
Sixers are pitching LeBron James and his agent Rich Paul at Clutch Sports in the wake of getting Jaylen Brown aboard. We know the face of this team, Tyrese Maxey, he has a relationship with LeBron James. But listen, the Sixers are a late inclusion in this process. Over the last 24, 48 hours, teams around the league that I speak to, this has been Cleveland, Golden State, Miami, as far as the teams that make the most logical sense for LeBron James. There's always going to be one or two others, right? A team like the Sixers. But in the meantime, the Sixers are not just waiting around. They did add a big piece today. Anthony Simons, a major scorer for them, coming off the bench, moving forward. 2-year, $12.3 million deal. He's going to provide a floor spacer. We know Jaylen Brown and Tyrese Maxey love to drive and kick. And so to have that outside shooter, that's someone that they're going to rely on moving forward. But we'll see what happens with LeBron, I think, over the coming days and weeks, potentially. But Anthony Simons, a big addition for them on a new 2-year deal.
That's just, look, I'm just going
to Herb, what you got, Herb?
I'm going to lay this out here before we even do the LeBron analysis to go in there, man. The pieces that Philly has picked up, they're already deep. I mean, when I say deep, they are championship contender deep in terms of some of the, the guard and the forward pieces they picked up. We're not even talking about Jaylen Brown or Maxey or the rotation that we've been talking about. Now, you add LeBron potentially into that mix, as a plug and play piece at the 3 to 4. In some instances, you could probably put him at the 2 in a pinch. Depending on who you playing, when you playing. Well, I mean, no, Rocky, they're not young and dumb, bro. I mean, if there's any situation that you want to put LeBron in, is that. Because one, they've been to the playoffs, they've had that run. And, having a guy with that caliber of experience puts them over the top. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, think about it. You could, potentially have a 5, out there with an Embiid, LeBron at the 4, Simons at the 2, Edgecombe or Maxey at the 1. You could put Edgecombe at the 3. There's just so many things you could think about in terms of that lineup offensively. and we're not talking about that bench. You know what I'm saying? So if that was actually a move that they made, that would be, yeah, I'm with Scotty on this one, man. It's like that. That's a place I would. That's a no-brainer for me.
Well, I'm gonna ask something, Scott. I'm gonna bring it back to you. And Rocket said young and dumb. The basketball IQ would have doubled with Jaylen Brown and LeBron James.
Yep.
Let's be clear.
Absolutely.
So that what you're saying, what you've seen Philly in the past, and Nick Nurse, who has won a championship. So you got a championship
with
coach,
Toronto. Yeah.
has with Toronto, and also know how to integrate a guy. Because remember, Kawhi was only there for one season. Comes in, understands how to move all the pieces around, and go to a championship. So to your point, Rocky, I think I'm like her. I don't think that basketball IQ will be anytime LeBron James is on the team. And I think I saw no, LeBron is never going to be no six man for nobody. That's never happened.
Yeah.
So that's definitely not happening. So, and like Isaiah said, now you're talking about a defensive team, a defensive coach. You've got Embiid who can block shots. You're talking about Jaylen Brown, who's already said, I'm the best two-way player in the game. You got Maxey, like I say, driving kick, as they talked about, and Edgecombe, who's already a great defensive player as a rookie. So when I saw that, Scotty, what you just said, I think that if that was the take, if he wanted, because see, to me, if I'm LeBron, and this is what I want to get you guys, what do you think LeBron, A, is this his last year? And two, if he's going to keep playing, is he like, I'm not trying to just get rocking chairs. I'm trying to get another ring to piss people off. Because I want to get that 5. I got to at least get the Kobe and Magic. I might not get the Mike. But if I get that 5 and I get it with another team, what do you guys think? So what do you think LeBron's playing for right now, Scotty?
A ring. It's championship or bust. It's just real simple. Now, to me, I think if you're looking at championship, the only reason why, to me, Golden State, I would lean that way is because there wouldn't be egos, right? Because everybody's on the same. Everybody, see, when you have like young stars, you have to fight with that ego of this is my team, this is me. I'm the new sheriff in town. All of those type of things. But when you're dealing with the Golden State Warriors, Draymond knows his role. Played it, you know what I'm saying? If AD get there, AD know his role. LeBron is gonna know his. Everybody's gonna know their role, and everybody's gonna fit to what is best for the team because they're like, hey, our goal is to win a championship. The only problem is that if I'm LeBron and I'm at Golden State, how do we deal with Wemby? How do we deal with Wemby at Golden State? Right? Like Draymond can only undercut somebody so many times, right? So it's that for me. That's why in the East is not easy. Like the East ain't easy. So
No.
It's all about, what it is. But to me, a team that was picture perfect ready to say, hey, let's make a run. Philly.
Herb, what do you think about LeBron's fit? Well, you just kind of talked about it, but answer with my question. You think this is for him? Is fit to get to a championship? Is that what you really believe? What LeBron is really looking at?
Yeah, I think it's championship or nothing. And I think I think you made a good point. He's doing it to piss people off. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the reality is that if he wanted to tomorrow, he could go out, leave the league on his own terms, and still be a first ballot Hall of Famer. No problem, no sweat. I think, getting another ring, is strictly for the haters out there. So I think that's something, people may not want to believe that, but I think that's a real big motivating factor for him at this point.
I'm gonna give you a scenario what that reminds me of. Remember when Shaq got traded to Miami? And his whole thing was, I'm going to get one without Kobe.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I'm not going to say what Shaq said when he did his rap, Kobe, you can do what? Eat my blah, blah, blah. Because for Shaq, it was because it was a decision that had to be made. And Jared Buss said, I'm taking Kobe. Shaq, you can go. And that motivated Shaq for those 2 years of running down there to Miami, get to that second year, because I think they played the first year and the second year they won the championship with Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
But that was that. he was so driven to prove the Lakers wrong. To me, it's the same scenario. Okay, Lakers, you saying, because it's not about Luka. It's really about Austin Reeves and the money they gave Austin Reeves while LeBron is not back. You want to keep Austin Reeves, no problem. I'm going to go here, and then LeBron will let him know. I guess I can still play as an old man. Yeah, that's exactly what he said. So with that being said, that leads into, man, there was a huge trade by one of my favorite players, other than, and I'm going to tell guys a story about why I got this. I never wear a jersey. This is the first time I wore this jersey, but I'll tell you a story reason why I got this on, because it's a pretty funny story. My favorite player, the Boston Celtics traded Jaylen Brown, and let's talk about it on the other side.
That's the dumbest shit I ever saw.
Well, we gonna get into it because there's a lot of layers to this that's now popping up.
Yeah.
So here we go. Jaylen Brown, and Sean's talking about it.
Offered Jaylen Brown and 2 unprotected first-round picks for Giannis. They missed out, but ever since then, you know what's been interesting? They didn't just stop the conversations there. They continued to have trade talks, and by today, they were actively shopping, full-blown shopping Jaylen Brown around the league, trying to get teams' best offers in. My understanding is Jaylen Brown, throughout all this, never requested a trade. He never asked out of Boston. This was all the Celtics. We'll learn more. This is obviously a very developing story, but Jaylen Brown is leaving the Boston Celtics. He will now be in Kevin Nagandi's with their 76ers. They offered.
Herb, when you heard this, Jaylen Brown, and for what Boston, because I think it's also important too, what Boston got back, Paul George, 2 first rounders and 2 seconds. What did you think?
I think Boston's the dumbest franchise in the last 10 years, to be quite honest with you. You don't give up an MVP piece like that in their prime. In their prime, when you got him and Tatum, old dude together, man, that's, you build around them, and that's what's kept them in championship contention the entire duration of him being with that franchise. And I'm just going to say this flat out, because I think Boston is an environment that has been problematic for a long time, not necessarily from a basketball standpoint, but from a public perception standpoint as it relates to their fans and the players and how they relate to, particularly players that are like, Brown, that are outspoken, that are extremely intelligent, that, and they speak out on things that are outside of basketball. It's a bad look. It's a bad look for that franchise all the way around. You don't get rid of a guy like that because you simply don't want him on the team. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot more to it than that. And that has a lot more to do with, what he represents to the league. I don't get it. But but their loss is Philly's game, and
huge game.
Hey,
huge game.
Scott,
when you heard the trade, Jaylen Brown for what? So 2 parts: the trade for the Celtics made, and then what they got in return. Paul George, 2 first and second. What did you think about that?
A 2K forced trade. If anybody,
hold on, we can't hear you. What happened?
My bad. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
If anybody's ever played 2K or any basketball game, they have a button called forced trade. It's like they tell you, like, do you really want to make this trade? Like, you're not getting the value that it was a forced trade. Like, I agree with her. Like, Boston got fleeced. Like, I mean, you're giving up. Who the fuck was Paul George? Like, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I mean,
and mind you, not only one Paul George still has $200 million owed to him. Okay, let's be clear.
And
I would have understood it if Paul George was on his last year and you say, you know what, I'm getting him off the books, because there's a couple of things, but I'm gonna let you cook on this. But I want you to understand that they're stuck with Paul George. It ain't like we let him play 1 year and then we get him off our books and then reset. Go ahead, Scotty.
Again, who the fuck wants Paul George? Like, that dude is so, he is the neighborhood chick. Like, he's around the way girl. Like, he just keep getting passed around. That's what he, like, for real. Think about it. Like,
he's the jump off.
How does OKC get Shea Gilgeous? Paul George.
Listen, I got a graphic for that too.
Danilo Gallinari. Paul George. Victor Oladipo. Paul George. Like, he is the pass around chick to get what you need. It's crazy to me. So anything that has to do with Paul George is a loss. You lost. If you telling me I'm getting Paul George, I lost, right? Because Paul George ain't gonna be healthy, and Paul George is gonna do some stupid stuff. Now, on top of that, Jaylen Brown in your own division,
one of your main rivals,
the team that just beat you down 3-1 and came back and beat you. You just gave them your best play, one of your best players. You got to be the dumbest white man in the world. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to, if I'm trading you to anybody, it's damn sure the team that just beat me down 3-1. Come, man, man.
Stupid.
I'm going to give you guys, and this is, again, and this right here, because it's three. I'm going to start with the three things that have been said of why this trade happened. And I'm going to save the last one because that's the one that's burned me up the most. First and foremost, which was crazy, the analytics that said that Jaylen Brown was the seventh best player on the team. And they couldn't go any further with him and JT. So when I heard that, and they said, oh, Derek White, analytics are better than Jaylen Brown. You tell me in what draft or any time that you're going to pick Derek White over Jaylen Brown, other than the Olympic team, which they screwed Jaylen Brown. The second thing, which I believe has to do with it, is that Boston has new owners. Jaylen Brown is up for extension, Herb. 2 years. You know what he's going to get in that 2 years? $142 million. Yeah. Mind you, because he's on the Supermax, because he keeps making NBA All-Star teams. Mind you, guess who's 2 years behind that on the Supermax? They're saying when Jason Tatum comes up, he will be making $100 million. So does finances come in there? But the last thing, and this is going to get to me where I want to get to, because I got some clips I want to play and get you guys' opinion on, is that Jaylen Brown's personality is the problem. So I'm going to play a couple of clips because some of this personality thing, and guess what? This is a Throwdown on Thursday night. Mr. Campbell, Big Herb, Scotty, free Scotty, got him on. We're talking about NBA hoops, LeBron James, NBA free agents, and Jaylen Brown. We are on the Offscript channel. We are on the Rocky Mill channel. Please hit the like button. Doing a new show, new concept, talking about the pros. But here's the thing, and I was really shocked of the person because he's an HBCU guy. But this is what I'm going to pull it up, said about Jaylen Brown and what he thought about why he got traded. And it just blew my mind.
Stephen A? No.
No.
Stephen A. The Avery. He's almost as bad. That's
Avery Johnson. Listen to what Avery Johnson says about
this Bama here.
Here we go.
Lead a team to an NBA Finals as a 1A player.
And this is what Jaylen hears. This is what he hears.
He's a terrific player. He's got to have Jason Tatum. Okay, if you put Jaylen Brown on the New York Knicks team and you remove Jalen Brunson, they're not a finals team. I'm telling you. So this guy, I respect tremendously his game, but you can't, Jaylen Brown can't go to the New Orleans Pelicans and all of a sudden they're an elite team. Jaylen Brown cannot lead a team.
Herb, Scott, what in the hell is Avery Johnson talking about? He can't lead a team? Did I not just see Boston?
I'm gonna put out my disclaimer before I start talking. The views of Herbert Seward are not necessarily views of the Throwdown or the host, Mr. Campbell, or our guest Scotty or any other entities thereof. Okay. Now that that's being said, Avery Johnson full of shit. And I'm just gonna say that flat out. You know, he makes a equivalent. He makes a comparison between him and Jalen Brunson that makes absolutely no basketball sense whatsoever. One, Jalen's a point guard and a guy that is a facilitator and leads by by scoring from that spot and getting other people in the best positions possible, and he does it in a whole multitude of ways. You know, Jaylen Brown is arguably the best two-way player in the league. Period. You know, he's a Swiss Army knife on both ends of the floor. You ask him to guard people, he can guard 1 through 4, and some in the pinch he can guard 5s. If the size disparity ain't there, you know, he can guard point guards. You know, and he's asked to do the same thing offensively. You know, and he's clutch. You ISO him, he's hard to deal with. So to say that, to make that kind of equivalency to me is just kind of stupid. The other thing is that one, you don't make that type of comparison or, equivalency without understanding one, you build around cats like that. You build around cats like him and Jason Tatum being at the 1 or the 2 or being on the floor at the same time. You put pieces around him. And so it doesn't make, to me, making that statement it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think it has more to do, I know you're going to talk about that too, but I think it has more to do with the overall commentary that's being put out about this guy that ain't really fair. Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. I really don't. Hey, I can't hear you guys.
Mr. Campbell, you're muted.
Sorry about that, because I'm setting up the next because this is really going to tie in us get going. Southern, what's up with your homeboy down there, man? I'm disappointed in Avery. Come on, man. Scotty, when you just heard that clip, what did you think about that?
Oh, shit.
Old dude got to get put out the pasture. You told me, you said you know me, young guns, get them in there. Old dudes got to get laid down. But listen, for real though, what's crazy is we always say availability is the best ability. Jason Tatum has an injury problem. Let's just keep that a buck. He has an injury problem. And let's not forget that Jaylen Brown made that run without Jason Tatum.
Exactly.
Who's supposed to be the guy. Like when Michael went down, Scotty didn't finish the job. And he was supposed to be the second best player. Brown did. You got to put respect on his name for that. And even with being 1A or 1B, he still be averaging 25, 26 points per game.
And mind you, and the offense not being ran for him. It's ran for Jason Tatum. Because I don't know how many times it drives me nuts when they put, and I just hate this offense anyway, when they just sit Jaylen Brown in the corner and he's just standing there instead of them even running a 2-man game with each other.
Avery has a point. You can't drop a lot of people on the New Orleans Pelicans and they be a playoff team.
Just because the Pelicans are awful, dude.
When he said that, hold on. That point right there. Name one player that you could name other than maybe Victor Wembanyama, maybe, because of what he can do, that you're going to tell me that you put him on the Pelicans and all these other teams he named, Memphis, Grizzlies, whoever, and that's going to put him in the conference finals.
The only person outside of Victor Wembanyama would be LeBron James, but we're talking about like a young LeBron. We're talking about like our 2010 LeBron.
That is just insane to tell me when you're sitting up here looking at teams. Jalen Brunson, who I think is a great player, you don't think he couldn't do that with our big cat sitting there? That's not the same team. You don't think Wembanyama, because Castle ascended, there's a reason why and Harper comes along, Wembanyama will still say Wembanyama, okay?
Yeah.
These guys are sin. All of a sudden, you're in a championship. Jalen Williams with Oklahoma. All of a sudden, Jalen Williams because of all-star play. Guess what? Oklahoma City wins the championship. What player is going at that level, other than, like you say, a young LeBron who just says, Cleveland, just get on my back. We just go to 4 straight finals, no matter who's there. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. But here's the thing that bothered me. One of the things that Jaylen Brown has always been criticized about, that people say, Herb and Scotty, that he's too smart. He went to Cal. He has other things. He's too worldly. Wait a minute. He was at the Black Lives Matter marches with George Floyd. He was speaking out. We don't want that. But I have heard, this is the dumbest thing, and the when I say one of the most racist things I've ever heard, let me play this of what Colin Cowherd said he has heard from GMs about Jaylen Brown. And I really want to get the chat involved in this. And Rocky, we might have to open up this call lines because this right here, this is Colin Cowherd, says the NBA sources told him Jaylen Brown became the smartest guy in every room. And the Celtics had enough. It seems Brad Stevens had enough. Listen to this.
Brad Stevens is getting crushed, the GM. They obviously wanted Jaylen Brown out of the building. Jaylen Brown, I had 2 NBA sources tonight, 2 people in the league, one an executive, one a scout, say that Jaylen Brown it's a disease. He suddenly thinks he's the smartest guy in every room he's in. I've worked with people in the media. It's really, you get into a really bad space. You make a lot of money. Suddenly you're absolutely sure. You don't want to listen to your bosses. You don't want to listen to consultants. You don't want to listen to teammates. Jaylen's kind of, and by the way, this was, one executive told me, this was always a little bit of Jaylen Brown's personality, kind of the smartest guy in the room, and live streaming and throwing it out there. And that's just not a good space. It used to be nothing good happens after 3 a.m. Nothing good happens when pro athletes live stream. It's just trouble. Stay away from it. You need PR people. Even what I do, when you're emotional, when you're in a terrible mood, don't go to live streaming. Brad Stevens.
I had to sit back and I had to watch this 4 or 5 times because I was trying not to get in my feelings as a black man. I really, and me and Scott, these times Scott discussed, I have to call him and say, hey man, am I off base? Because you're younger. What do you see? And I always admire what he gives me another perspective. But to say that Jaylen Brown has a disease and because he considers himself the smartest person in the room. Now, one time, and I watch a lot of basketball. I know a lot of basketball. I know a lot of agents. I know a lot of players. Now, one time, when have we ever heard Jaylen Brown being disruption in practice, being disruption on the team? Never heard any of his players, his fellow players say they don't like him or any of this. So now, all of a sudden, because you make this bad trade, you have to justify and attack this man's character to say, oh, now he considers him the smartest person. Well, I'm going to tell you a secret. Jaylen Brown has always been smart. Jaylen Brown with the Cal. I'm going to tell you a secret. When Jaylen Brown was getting all-star, he was messing around at MIT, learning robotics. Jaylen Brown is real red. So if you're going to tell me he gets on the stream, and I hate when people clip stuff and not understand context, and he said, this is my favorite year and stuff like that. He was talking about what the expectation was, that people thought that this team, not him, was going to be a lottery team. I can understand that when somebody don't believe in you and you as a group, that would make me feel, I understand the championship, but I think he was so misquoted. But when I heard this, to say that him being the smartest person in the room was a disease, the level, so just that was like, to me, just shove and dribble, blah, blah, blah.
That's exactly what it is. And I'll be...
Scott, go ahead, Herb. You go ahead.
I'll be frank. He is the smartest person in the room in a lot of places in the league where he goes into, point blank. When you see it in his interactions with the media, you see it, in some of the interactions he's had with pundits that have, tried him, we already know what's been going on with our friend and everybody's friend, Stephen A. The back and forth that they've had, and with all due respect, Stephen is outclassed pretty much every semblance of the conversation. But this speaks to a bigger issue, and the image of that the league wants to cultivate of its players, in terms of particularly as Black players, as African American players. We'll see so much negative coverage of Jaylen Brown, being a stand-up, intelligent dude, but we won't hear a peep from these same folks when Ja Morant goes out and does YN shit, or we won't see the same types of stuff when anything negative comes up, for a lot of our players. And it sucks, because it's like, okay, well, this is the type of guy that you want representing the league. This is the type of guy that you want representing the league. The guy is well read. That guy could be building robots someplace, for somebody in Silicon Valley.
Don't have 5 baby mamas. Not rolling around with guns.
Exactly.
Not whooping on women, not beating up on women.
He's not doing YN shit. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
And to me, it's indicative of what this league has wanted to cultivate, the media image of players, or rather the anti-media image of players that this league has tried to avoid cultivating. He doesn't fit that narrative. He doesn't fit that frame of player. So naturally, he's catching heat, which is stupid.
Scotty, when you heard that quote from Colin Cowherd, and just overall this thing that's now being said about Jaylen Brown, is because of he's too smart. He thinks he's a smart guy. He thinks he's a know-it-all. When you heard that, what did you think? What did you think about that?
I think it's the typical response where you have a confident Black man.
Exactly.
That's really what it boils down to. It's no different than the times where, Dion would do what Dion does, and people would feel intimidated. He says, "Don't let my confidence mess up your insecurities," or something like that. He says, like he does like that. But for me, the only way that Jaylen Brown shakes the narrative is you go to a different team. And it's not even about winning. It's just your teammates love you. Just your teammates love you. Like, they speak well of you, right? It's the same thing with Westbrook. It's like how people look at Westbrook is they see him a certain way. He carries himself in a certain way. And because he shows the passion and the intensity that he does, they think that he's a bad teammate, or he's a bad this, or he's a bad that, or he has all these issues. But people who are teammates with him, they rave about him. They be like, "Hey, Westbrook's one of the best teammates I've ever had." Like, just as a man, as a person. But again, there's because if you don't fit a certain look, a certain style, or you respond the way that you're not supposed to respond, then the media takes a narrative and run with it. But I have to give credit for Jaylen Brown sticking up for himself and speaking on his behalf, because again, this is the day and age of the athlete, right? Podcasts and YouTube channels and all these different type of things. So they don't just have to shut up and dribble. You can get on your own platform and discuss how you feel and talk about the problems that you're having, right? So if I was Jaylen Brown's agent, if I was Jaylen Brown's family member or whatever, I would just say, "Listen, man, let's go to Philly. Let's do what you do and go be a great teammate and let the noise be the noise."
And I mean,
because I'm gonna play something, and I hate to do this, and it's not fair. I'm gonna admit it, but one of my boys, we were talking about this. He's a big Jaylen Brown fan. He's a very smart guy. He's a lawyer. And he said, "Steve, I'm going to send you something." And this is what those people want. And I hate to do it, but I think it is relevant to what they want a black athlete to act like. And I'm going to just play this. And like I say, I apologize if you're a fan of this guy, and I think he's a really good guy, but here's the point right here. This is what they want. Hold on.
I'm here for Norway and the Ivory Coast, baby. I'm here for Norway and the Ivory Coast, baby. So get your roll.
I'm just saying. Out there with all the white Norwegians, and I understand you're getting paid, but my boy, he said, Steve, just look at it, just take away the name, but that's what they want. And when I saw that, and to think about, let me tell you this, Jaylen Brown ain't doing that. Ain't doing that. But they are comfortable with that. Now, Jameis Winston's a great guy. He's a great teammate, all that. I'm not saying. But that's the projection that they would rather have Herb and Scotty. Now, am I wrong for that? And again,
no, not at all, man. And
to me, it's just such a perfect contrast. They'll be so comfortable with that image. And again, in front of a bunch of Norwegians, and you're doing that, and I understand you're having fun, but are you having fun, or are they having fun at your expense?
Well, I'll be as somebody that first, this is a side note, man. Putting our worst types of putting stereotypes like that in front of a world audience, for a game that goes out of its way to not represent those stereotypes is bad. That's nasty work. So whoever did that, network wise during World Cup coverage, y'all are some bullshit. But
that is crazy. Hey man, listen, we got the call lines up 760-548. Rocky's working in the back. I don't know if Rocky's coming out. He looked like he's just chilling, but we got the phone lines up 760-548. If you want to join the conversation, 9951. Go ahead and call in, man. The phone lines are open and stuff like that. We've been talking about NBA free agency. We've been talking about LeBron. We're talking about what they've been doing. So, Scotty, you got young sons, young men that you're raising. When you see things like this as a father, how do you navigate this with your sons between having fun, but also having respect for yourself?
It's a very fine line because confident black men are intimidating. That's just it. Just in this day and age, confident black men are intimidating. So you have to teach them that, it's okay to be confident, but at the same time, you gotta still you have to stay humble just so people don't want to see your failures, right? Like it's like you're confident in your ability, but I stay humble and meek so nobody, prays on my downfall or prays on my, or looks for a way to get me in trouble or looks for ways to get me hemmed up or try to find my weakness, right? So, or my son's weakness or my daughter's weakness, right? Like if you talk to anybody, my daughter is more like me than anybody else. And she speaks up for herself. And that's how I teach my kids to speak up for themselves because I'm not going to always be around. But again, it's different. I don't know what it is about just being black and being intimidated. Like people are intimidated by black people who are confident and speak up for themselves and stand on what they believe in. And I respect Jaylen Brown. I respect how he moves. Again, you can't get mad. I don't want to say that. You can feel some type of way of how people perceive you, but as long as you know within your character and your morals that what you're doing is right and you standing up for what you believe in, that's all you can ask, right? That's all you can do. So for me, for my boys, it's all about character, values, and morals. Like, all right, how's your character? What do you value? What's important to you? And then standing on what you believe. One thing I tell my son is I can't stand people who flip-flop. Like I can't stand that. Stand on something, believe in something, and be passionate about it, right? So We'll see how it goes, going down the line. But I do believe Jaylen Brown will get the last laugh. Because I think people are overvaluing Jason Tatum, if I'm being honest. Because I would say, back to Avery Johnson's point, if we took Jason Tatum and put him on the Pelicans, are they a finals team? I say no. So
I feel you. I mean, like I said, I think I think Scotty's on point as usual.
We're gonna talk about one last little thing that we're gonna get out of here. I thought was pretty funny, and it's gonna tie into something that, again, it's always amazing. Once again, sports always intersects with race, money, sex, and everything else. There are people out there in Lakerland. They're looking at their starting lineup. Herb, it don't look like the Showtime Lakers.
Look like the milk of magnesia.
So I'm just going. It don't look like the Showtime Lakers. So my man right here, he got a little breakdown of what the starting five look like.
Copa Cabana.
So here we go. Let's see what he think the starting five gonna look like right here.
Look at this fucking squad. We got the fucking Frat Five, the Suburban Super Team, the Costco Cartel, the Dairy Dynasty, the Mayo Mob, the Caucasian Connection, the Beige Brigade, the Cream Team, the Brunch Bunch, the Casserole Collective, Live Laugh Lakers.
So I'm gonna put the pitch up here. What do you think is gonna happen when they roll this squad out the very first game number 1?
Mayo Mafia is nasty work.
This is their, maybe Sexton gets in there. I doubt it. I think this is going to be the starting lineup. What
There's listen, in 2026, there's no way the Los Angeles Lakers tried out 5 white boys as their starting lineup. Ain't no way.
We already know. Hold on. They already had 3. We already know 3 start.
Ain't no way.
We already know that 3 is starting.
Boy,
so I'm just saying.
But
we already know 3 is starting.
They looking like Duke during the early Coach K days, boy.
Bruh.
Nope, because Coach K was always good for at least one brother. He was always good for at least one brother.
The early Coach K days.
He was good for one brother. He was always good for one.
Hey, y'all don't understand what this is.
Like that. He was gonna have one 2-parent household black boy on that team, okay?
Y'all don't get what this is.
The LA Quakers. I like that one right there. The LA Quakers.
Yo, my God, there's no place for Brian Davis on that squad. Bro.
Y'all don't get what this is, man.
Somebody said the LA Quakers.
This is the revenge of the Fab Five. That's what this is.
Not the LA Quakers.
Yeah, this is revenge of the Fab Five right here.
That's not about
Rocky. That's been the white folks still. That's been 30 years ago, bro.
You don't realize. Pelinka,
shout out to April 38. That's her line. She was fall 91. That boys was in 90. That's 35 years ago. That's how I know that. Come on, Rocky.
Pelinka was a starter until the Fab Five arrived.
So I got. So you saying Pelinka's doing this?
Yes.
Now listen, I'm gonna play something else because here's the flip, and I like Nick Wright made a point. It's a little bit long, but I want to play this because Stephen A. made a point, and folks got all upset about this. Talks about this, and this is Nick Wright just saying the obvious. There we go. This is Nick Wright. Listen to this. What Nick Wright says.
Gone after him. So I want to just. And I didn't see everything Stephen A. said about the fact that the Lakers are going to be the first team in 40 years to have their best 3 players be white dudes. But I'm telling you right now, while everyone's annihilating him for it, that occurred to all of you as well. Everyone's like, how could he say this? It's like when everybody had a similar reaction when we saw the picture of the Lakers' big 3, and it's Luka, Austin, and Walker Kessler.
Luka's a spicy white, though. He's a spicy.
Right? No, I get it. He's Eastern European. It's not American. And this Mamu Shadashvili guy, he's Eastern European too. He looks like a John Wick villain. I understand all that. My only point is people who want to go after Stephen A. are using this as an opportunity, pretending like that hadn't even occurred to me. Yes, it had. I'm not saying it means they won't. I'm not going as far as to say it means they're going to be bad or anything. I am saying he wasn't the only person to be like, oh, well, when's the and I even did, when I saw the Walker Kessler deal, my own thing in my head where I was like, gosh, what is the last time a team's 3 best guys were white dudes? And I was like, even the Celtics in the 80s with Bird and McHale, they always had Parrish. Like 3 of their 4 best at times, whether it was Ainge or Bill Walton. But it's been a while.
What do you guys think?
I think that's a racist.
Why are people mad? Like Nick Wright says, they stay obvious.
I mean, it's a racist take.
That Stephen A. made?
Yeah, it's a racist take. Like the fact that
But Nick Wright said we all thinking it.
No. Don't get me wrong. This is almost like reverse racism, meaning that and this
watch it, just go get clipped and be put on MAGA.
No. Listen what I'm saying. It's reverse racism because it's the same thing that white people said 50 years ago or probably 60 years ago now, when Texas Western rolled out 5 black guys in the national championship game against Kentucky. Right? It's the same thing. How are those 5 black dudes gonna compete?
Well, Rocket, let me ask you a question. Do you think those 5 white guys are going to compete? Do you believe if that lineup, to your point now, I'm going to flip it back on you, are they going to compete?
So this is what I will say, Steve. In a 7-game series against Obi, Towns, Brunson, and the Knicks, I don't think they will win a 7-game series against the defending champions. No. But, I mean, they'll beat somebody. They'll beat somebody. Now again, I'm going to say this. We have to acknowledge that the take that Stephen A. made, though very true, though we all were thinking it, right? It's rooted. It's a racist, biased take. That's all I'm saying. That doesn't mean that it's not true or that we all were thinking it. The fact of the matter is that 5 white guys. Matter of fact, put it like this, man. You don't play 5 white guys in 24-hour fitness. You know, that's the reality. You know, matter of fact, have you ever, okay, I'm a guy that can't hoop. I can't hoop, right? But I've shown up at a gym where it's a bunch of white guys and they'll say, hey, I'll take the black guy. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because they assume I can hoop.
Man, Brian Davis or Grant Hill is not walking through that door for the Lakers anytime soon.
And let's be honest, when you talk about old Duke, you have to talk about Johnny Dawkins and all those other guys. There were some black guys. Yeah. Matter of fact, didn't Johnny Dawkins win the Naismith Award?
Yeah, he was player of the year. This is Stephen A. Smith's quote. This is Stephen A. Smith real quick to her. I'm gonna let you get back to it, but just because Emma said for context, this is what Stephen A. said, and this is part of the clip.
Los Angeles Lakers think they're going much white.
Your 3 top players are white dude? Really? This ain't golf. This ain't baseball. Hell, it ain't even soccer. What y'all think this is? Basketball. In NBA history, when have you seen your 3 most prominent players on a basketball team all be white? And that takes you to the promised land. Somebody got to say it, so I'm saying it. This is basketball. I'm not complaining. I'm simply making the point. The Los Angeles Lakers, you ain't going anywhere being led by 3 white dudes in today's generation of basketball. I'm letting you know right now, it ain't happening. And Luka's a bad brother. And Austin Reeves is no scrub. And they both have earned what they have earned. And then with LeBron James or some other brothers I get. But those 2 and Walker Kessler? You ain't scaring anybody with that. And Rob Pelinka has done made this white dude central. Where the hell the Los Angeles Lakers think?
Hey, man. All I can say is I can't be mad at him. I don't agree with Stephen A. Smith, but a broke clock is right twice a day.
Now, I can't believe Stephen A. said it.
Oh, I can. I totally believe he said it. But the thing about it is, he
must have got an okay to address it from his upper bosses, because again, to make this, to frame it the way that he framed it as these guys don't have a chance because they're white.
Now that is factual. He did put it on there. But Herb, Herb, I ask you this. Let's be honest. You're a basketball guy. Now, Walker Kessler, great rebounder, 12 points. They said the best offensive rebounder in the league, but let's score defensively. What do you think this team looks like? Just roll them out.
They're gonna get torched. Point blank.
Say again, Herb.
They're gonna get torched. They're gonna get smoked. They're gonna get run off the court defensively. And I don't say that as a point of disrespect, because Luka and those guys are really, really good offensive players, but that's not where they're going to be attacked at. They're going to be attacked.
So I don't know much about basketball, Herb, but I watched the Lakers play. What's the team that eliminated?
You mean San Antonio?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Was Austin Reeves able to do much against those guys? And those guys are younger than him, right?
Correct.
He wasn't able to do much offensively on them, right? I'm not talking about him trying to defend them. I'm talking about what was he able to do on the offensive side of it?
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that even though I think San Antonio's a really, they're kind of an example that anybody could use because of just how far ahead athletically they are from everybody else. Lengthwise, you're talking about one of the longest teams in the league, in terms of wingspan,
And by the way, it was OKC that was giving him a problem. It wasn't.
Yeah. Well, OKC was giving them a problem because they're a little bit closer to them athletically. And I think that's something that, when you look at, in the context of this conversation about that lineup that we're talking about, you roll that lineup, out on the floor against that San Antonio team with the length and the explosiveness and the quickness that they have, the ability to cover space, the ability to close off passing lanes without really having to move a whole lot. Come on, man. And that's not a knock on the players for LA. Like I said, I think they've got some really, really good offensive players, but there comes a point in time, particularly in half-court basketball, where the physical tools that you got make all the difference in the world. And if you're long and you can disrupt passing lanes and you can beat somebody else to the spot, you're going to win those battles 9 out of 10 times. And, that's not to say that they won't be able to do that to some teams in the league over the season. But if I'm taking that starting five and putting them into a series, a 5-game series, a 7-game series against another playoff team that, has more athleticism than them and are just as well coached, I don't see it. I just don't.
Yeah. I think that, again, things happen and they kind of fall in place. So you get Luka, top 5 player. You can't deny what Luka is, right? Just happened to be white. Austin Reeves wasn't even drafted. He comes up, he brings up from the mud, he's with the Lakers, they sign him. But now they got a big, and the problem is there was no bigs out there other than Walker Kessler and Jason Duren. And I'm going to take it Even though I think that's a bad deal that they did because that was a sign and trade with Utah. I think that was a bad deal that the Lakers did. But Luka said, hey, I want a big guy. So what does Rob Pelinka do? It kind of falls into his lap that this is what the team is putting together.
Well, I think the first thing that I would say, if I'm looking at this squad on paper, I would have to see what is he trying to do, on both ends of the floor schematically. How is he trying to play defense? How is he, what identity is this team going to have on both ends of the floor? What you're getting offensively from these guys. Luka is really ball dominant. He's really crafty. He can, his basketball IQ is off the chart. Same thing with Reeves. Same thing, for a big guy, Kessler is really, really effective in that regard too. He can rebound. He's long, which is, again, in the context of what we're talking about, is really important in the league that is really predicated on getting to the spot and beating people to the spot. That length, speaks volumes, and he has that. The question I have, if I'm looking at this lineup, is, when you're not able to get to that spot, how do you create? How do you create space for shooters? How is your ball movement going to, create opportunities to score where you're not being, squeezed out of shots? What are you going to do in transition when this eventually turns into a transition game? You got to defend in transition. Those types of things I just don't see out of. If I'm looking at that,
I think Bronny gets significant playing time on this team.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think so? Well,
yeah.
That's going to be. Hey, listen, and let me say this, man. Once again, it's a new show.
Because he's easily the best athlete on the roster they have now, especially in the backcourt.
And that is horrible. And nothing against, because being an athlete and being a basketball player is two different things.
Yeah.
And basketball wise, he's not ready to play NBA minutes. He's just still not. He's still not. But hey, just a quick reset, man. Hold on, Herb. Just a quick reset. Hey, man, new show to Throwdown. Rocky's going to be joining me. We're going to be talking football. Once again, one hot topic. Talking pros, NBA, NFL, major college, no HBCU. We got enough people. We're going to do all the HBCU stuff. But we wanted to switch it up for you all, give you a little something different. So just trying out a concept to Throwdown. Got my man Herb talking about HBCU Hoop Week. Rocky came on board, jump on in. Of course, Scott had.
I just got the phone line up. That's why I had 10. But when y'all brought up the cream team, I had to comment on it.
Yeah, but no, that's no problem. But hold on. But this is what I want to say. This, all y'all jokers are Laker fans.
Yeah.
All y'all,
not me.
Well, okay, I want to talk about that. I need the Laker fans to call in. Hey, are you cool with LeBron? Lakers letting LeBron go? And how do you feel about this? And what my boys say, the picket fence team, the LA Quakers. I need the Laker fans to call in. Because y'all, anytime, let me tell you something for her. Let me tell you about these Laker fans. See, this is one of the reasons why I became a Clipper fan, just to troll, right? Because I'm a big Chris Paul guy. And when he went to the Clippers, I became a Clipper fan. That's the only reason why I'm a Clipper fan. Then, of course, the Lob City era, the Kawhi. I really thought they were going to get a championship with Kawhi now. Of course, it didn't happen. I got this jersey, a girl I date. Now, I never have worn a jersey in my life, ever. I don't wear jerseys. That ain't my thing. I'm not saying if you want to wear it, that's fine. So she buys me this jersey for my birthday, and I'm like, I'm not wearing that. But she was like, Kawhi's your favorite player. And so I literally have the jersey that still has the tags on it. So this is the first time I've ever worn this. I wanted to use an excuse because I'll never wear it again. So this is why I got my Clippers jersey. I just wanted to say that.
Hey, have you told her thank you yet?
No, this was a while ago. Me and her broke up. And that's why I want to rewind. Because listen, if you buy me a Clippers jersey, you don't know me too. And that's why I had to break up with her. That's why I got a new girlfriend. My new girlfriend know me. She know not to buy me no Clippers jersey. She know to take me to a Clippers game, not buy me no Clippers jersey. But I need you Laker guys, because all you Lakers, because y'all bandwagon folks, and I'm calling you out. When y'all rolling,
we got to call it, Steve, whenever you're ready.
So real quick, you Laker fans, a such bandwagon fan, when y'all was rolling during the Showtime era, when me and Rocky was around, Laker this, Laker that. Then it rolled around with Shaq and Kobe. Then y'all thought LeBron, but y'all been real quiet. I ain't heard these Laker fans. So I need you Laker fans to show your Laker card, or I'm calling you all out.
Yeah,
y'all
call this.
Stand by your team. Go ahead, right with the phone call.
Now stand by the cream team. Caller, you're live on the Throwdown. Hey, please turn your sound down. Let me give you a minute to turn your sound down because I already hear your background loud and you need to turn it down. You ready now? All right. Tell me how you feel about the cream team. What's your name and where you calling from? You're live on the Throwdown.
See, that's those Laker fan. They got nothing to say now. Now you get on it. Say something, Laker fan. Rocky, we can't hear him if he's talking.
You're not able to hear him?
Yeah, no, we can't hear him. Herb, you can't hear him either, right? Yeah, we couldn't hear him.
Oh man, hold on.
Bro, we're gonna have to.
Oh my goodness.
The Lakers since 74. So you know, Edwin. Now I think Edwin, how old are you? 'Cause I think you're a 2 or 3
What about
years
now?
older.
Come on, give it to me. Talk. Can you hear him?
No.
Hold on, brother.
That's all right. We're gonna get it together.
Boy, y'all gonna have to hire a producer.
Hey man, we trying, brother.
Listen, man. Listen, we rolling, man. For this to be a first-time show, man. Great topic, great people watching us, man. We appreciate you watching us. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the Rocky Miller channel. Please subscribe to the Offscript channel. Has script on. See, we free script. I figured out a way to free script. See, he ain't gonna get in no trouble with his job talking about the Lakers.
Man, I'm gonna script my boy, man, but he's become part of the ops, so I gotta watch him, man. He work for them dudes.
Hey man, he gonna be at that Magic City Classic, Herb, and go and turn his nose up at you.
You see this, right? Yeah, I have to keep that.
Hey, caller, are you there? Let's do a sound check right quick. See if you hear me. Oh, you can't hear him. Hold on, I got some. Not yet. Hold on. Let me try something else.
Working it
All
out.
right, caller, try again now.
Still can't hear him.
You still can't hear him?
No.
For students.
Hold on. I got what the problem is. I hear the problem. He's in my ear, but he's not in yours. Go ahead, guy. Go ahead. You got it live and in living color. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead, caller.
Okay, you got me?
Yeah, they got you, man. It was on me.
Now.
It was my fault.
Okay, all right. I'm a Laker fan on the west side of LA right now. Been a Laker fan since '91, like as far as and then really started watching them in '93, like paying real attention.
You missed the best era.
No, I was around. I was because I was old. I was 25 when I started watching basketball, but
okay,
wasn't interested in front of, as far as watching. I knew what was going on.
Oh yeah, you was reading comic books and cartoons. I got it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was reading comic books and stuff. Yeah, recess play ball. Not no organized sports. But yeah, but I really started watching the Lakers, Nick Van Exel's rookie season.
Okay.
When I started sitting down in front of the TV and just listening to Chick and Stu and, soaking up everything, buying the magazines and stuff. So I've been a Laker fan, like diehard since then, like following scouting reports and following the cap and stuff. So I've been looking at them real close.
So what do you think about your new look Lakers? Since you are a purple and gold gang, you got the cream team out there. You got Luka. You got Walker Kessler.
I like them.
Okay. Now, why do you like them? What do you think?
I like them as far as. Well, I think the Lakers finally are getting back to what made us great, which is a big man. I mean, I know it's only Walker Kessler, and it's real funny that we paid all this for Walker Kessler, but we let Zubac go for Mike Muscala. So
thank you.
We could have had Zubac all this time. So I look at stuff like that, So, a lot of the moves that they made, I don't like anyway. Even before they got Bron, after they got Bron. So, but they got a chip, but I still think they made some bad moves. So, that's how I look at it.
So, all right, I'm gonna pull this up because I think what people need to understand, and you said about Zubac, yeah, we stole Zubac, the Clippers star, and we flipped him to get the number 5 pick. So thank you on that. But I want people to really look.
Hell yeah, that was the retarded, and that was Magic Johnson.
Yeah, that is facts. That is
That was Magic Johnson getting LeBron a shooter, getting LeBron a stretch big.
So
that was the narrative when they did that.
So when you saw this, so this is what the Lakers traded. 2 unprotected first round picks, 2030, 2033. So Luka's what, 26 now? That's 6 years from now. So
Yeah.
he'll only be 32, 33. So
he won't be a Laker.
Oh, okay. Now there you go. And 2 pick swaps, 28, 23. And they gave him a 4-year, $130 million. So I'm asking you, and I'm asking the chat, do you guys think that Walker Kessler was worth that?
Yeah, I think he's worth it because the Lakers need to pay respect to the big man again, and this serves them right. So hopefully down the road, they'll never have to spend this much on a big man again unless he's really a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
But they need this lesson because we need that paint presence. You know, and if we got to pay an arm and a leg for it, so be it. But we need that paint presence. You know,
I'll be honest.
we got to have that as a team, as a culture. As a culture, we got to have that. So if he can bring that with DeAndre Ayton and the backup, I think our front line is pretty.
I don't know how good my math is, but is that $32.5 million a year?
Yeah, but who cares? Who cares? You know, we got all them cheap players. You look, Kuminga's about to get like $7 million at the most right now, and he came off what, a 20-something million contract. These players ain't getting paid no more, so we just gotta, you know, we extend Vando. We might be able to keep Rui with $7 million if we can extend waive Vanderbilt and extend his contract. We might be able to get Rui back on the team.
So let me ask you this: with paying Walker Kessler $32.5 million a year, paying what's my man name? Arkansas Mamba. What's his name?
Hillbilly Kobe.
Yeah, Austin Reeves. You're paying him 40. I don't want to say he's getting $46 million a year, right? What do you expect?
Yeah, that's a bad contract.
What? Oh, no. What do you expect them to do? The Lakers to end up doing? What would you be happy with as a Laker fan? With those being your core guys, those 3 guys being your core guys.
Well, I think we got I think
no. I say, what will y'all be happy with? What outcome will y'all be happy with as Laker fans? With that being your core.
What do you mean? As far as what do you mean? On what time frame? What do you in what context do you mean?
In 4 years, what will you guys be happy with with that core?
I'm trying to contend.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to get to the Western Conference Finals and get to a finals.
So that group has to get
that should be the goal.
So that group has to get to a conference finals or a finals, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
Why did y'all have lofty expectations for LeBron James then? It was championship or bust.
That was supposedly. That's what they said their expectations were since he signed in 2018. Right?
No. Who is this they you speak of?
Well, win now was the narrative. You can't wait.
LeBron You're a fan, right? Win now is always the narrative. They're in professional sports, right? Shouldn't the guys you have now be win now?
Win now is night to night for me as a fan because you want them to work hard every night. But they were saying win now like in context of win the champion now, like win the championship now, which I don't think. I think we're a championship organization, but I don't think we say win the championship now. But the expectation is always a championship.
So this year, are you guys play-in, playoffs, first, second, third round? Where do you think? What are your expectations?
I say I would say third seed. I would think that would be the highest. My optimistic. Like if we made the third seed, I would feel like it was a good season. If we make the third seed, and if we go 7 games in the first round, and make a fight of it, I'm gonna be disappointed. But we got more work to do.
See, this is what's wrong with America. And I'll say this. You get 5 white guys and you get the right to be mediocre and everybody be happy with it. Like that's the reality. Like when LeBron was on the team, when my guy was leading the team, it was for the Laker fans, it was championship or nothing. You got 5 young white guys entering their prime, and now if you go 7 games in the first round, you're happy.
Yeah, I didn't feel that way though. I didn't agree with that narrative that we had to win right now, and we had to win championship or bust. I didn't have that expectation. I didn't have that expectation.
Go ahead, Herb. Jump in there real quick.
I'll pipe him down, Herb. Go ahead.
Oh no, I had a question for the caller, man.
Go ahead.
Well,
He'll answer.
First, as a Lakers fan, you being a Lakers fan, I appreciate you being on the call, man. I just got a question, man. This lineup that we're talking about, the potential starting 5, who do you see that starting 5 matching up with in the West? Anybody in the West?
Well, the starting 5, I think they ain't gonna play a lot together. They're going to change that starting 5, but we don't know. Rui might get on it. So if he's on it, that mixes things up a little bit.
Well, I'll just let me.
There's also Minga to kick it.
Well, let me put this another way, and I want to this. We're dealing in the world of hypotheticals here, so you can just take this with a grain of salt.
Okay.
If that actually is the starting 5, and that organization rolls them out.
Okay, well if they okay, let's just go with the starting 5. Let's go with the starting 5 without Rui, like right now. So they got Milton Grimes, they got Quentin Grimes starting, right? Or they got LaRavia. Are you doing it with LaRavia? Because that would be all white. But if you go with Quentin Grimes, they've been told that he might be in there, so they might have him in there. We don't know.
Well, let's put the all white thing aside for a minute, because I just want to. I'm talking strictly about.
I prefer to do that too.
Yeah, I'm talking strictly in terms of matching up with, who they're going to be seeing night in, night out in the West. So if you're looking at that, Kessler in the paint is going to wipe a lot of mistakes, and they run and drop coverage from what I understand, which it's a simpler defense to run. They're going to be running that primarily, and Kessler, he's going to be the funnel. So, they got guards, they got younger guards out there to supplement the starters, Quentin Grimes and Sexton. So you might not see Austin Reeves and Luka on the court that much together, because that's, everybody knows that lineup defensively. But if you can mix in Colin Sexton and McBride or Grimes, that shores that up. So,
So let me ask you guys this. So Walker Kessler, because I'm not familiar with the guy, so that doesn't mean anything though, because I'm not. So last year it says he logged 5 games. Is that correct? Do y'all agree with that?
Yeah. He had a separated shoulder. He needed shoulder repair. He got it repaired, and he sat out as well.
Okay.
So hopefully, his shoulder be good.
Now the year before,
he's a double guy.
Now the year before that, he played 56 games.
Right.
Yeah, he had something else.
Yeah.
He had a little something else, right?
Yeah.
The year before, he played 64 games, right? And he missed about 18 games. Then the year before, he played 7. My point is this: the year he played 58 games, he averaged 11 points a game. The year he played 64 games, he averaged 8 points a game. Now again, when you talk about rebounds, he averaged 12 rebounds the year he played 58 games, and when he played 64 games, he averaged 7.5 rebounds. y'all are acting like this dude is Wemby or something. Am I missing something about this guy?
He's almost as big as he's heavier than Wemby. He's stronger than Wemby, and he's only 2 inches shorter than Wemby. So he's not Wemby, and he's a lob threat, and he's a lob threat. So he's not Wemby, no. But Cat wasn't Wemby against New York. Cat had a bad series, but he was able to be 7 feet. You can't teach 7'2" and athletic. So if he's healthy in the playoff run, and then we got Ayton backing him up. I think our front that 12 that 5 position is like is an A grade. So if you got to pay extra for him and you're getting Ayton on the cheap, I think that's going to make our front line one of the best in the NBA. Just the front line speaking.
Yeah,
you think that you don't think that would be kind of possible to dominate the paint with Kessler and Ayton?
I don't think you guys will dominate the I don't think you guys will dominate the division. To be quite honest with you.
No, I'm talking about the paint though. I'm talking about dominating.
No, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking
like having.
I'm talking about your post road. I'm talking about your post road.
We'll dominate the NBA in paint.
Okay.
All
right.
Having those two at the center position.
That's the reason why I asked you the question.
We paid a lot for it.
Given who you guys are going to be playing in that division and in the West, night in and night out, who are they going to dominate? That post rotation.
Well, they don't have to dominate nobody. They just got to get past the regular season. And they got to they got out the playoffs through the regular season last year. I think they could do the same thing this year.
Okay, let me put this.
So all they got to do is get to the playoffs.
Let me put this another way. Who are they going to stop defensively in that division?
What do you mean? Like nobody? They ain't gonna stop nobody. But they don't have to stop. But you don't have to stop them. You don't have to stop them the whole game, and they could get stops in spurts. I mean, that dude Mamu, he looks pretty good. He's a lefty. He's 6'9". He's 240.
Hey, bro, we got another Laker fan on the line. Hey, I appreciate you calling in, man.
Hey, man, we appreciate your call, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate your call, man. Really.
Oh man, what's up, man? Y'all couldn't rattle me. What's up, man?
No, caller with the last 4-8572. You're live on the Throwdown with Mr. Campbell, Herb, and Scott.
What up, Rocky?
What's up?
Well, what up, Rocky? Hey, I'm from Detroit, so I'm never gonna be no Laker fan. Hey, man, at the end of the day, man, hey, he didn't want to play there no more. Let him be, man. Hey, I just can't wait till the season gets started, man.
Yeah,
I'm ready for the season to start now.
You and me
both. But no, I'm never gonna be no Laker fan. Hey, I'm from Detroit, man, and we swept them boys, so I ain't gonna never have no love. I mean, I like Magic because he's from Lansing, but the rest of the boys, they can get that broom, man. I'm an Isaiah Thomas fan, so how Zeke talk cash money stuff out here, man. He said I beat them all. He said he beat them all, man. He beat them all. He beat Bird. He beat Magic. He beat Mike too. So don't forget that. He let he beat Mike too.
Don't let this Pistons guy. Don't let him go before I get a hold of him. Go ahead, Rocky. You about to say something?
No, I'm just saying. I just want to end this up when he double backs and talks about DeAndre Ayton being a dominant force. The only point I'll say is that DeAndre Ayton was once a better player than Walker Kessler, but he was never what you would call a dominant player or led a franchise. And so my point in saying that is almost like duplication with Walker Kessler and DeAndre Ayton, but at a much lower level. You know what I mean? Like Walker Kessler has never averaged 18 points. He's never averaged, 7. Matter of fact, DeAndre Ayton averaged 12 points last year, and that's more than Kessler has ever averaged in an entire season. So I don't know who this guy Walker Kessler is. Maybe he is, but he seems like the great white hype to me, and based on looking at his statistics.
Wait, real quick. Wait a minute. Hold on, real quick. The Detroit guy still on, right?
Yeah. He's here.
Okay, my brother. What's your name, man?
Man, it's me, Mr. Campbell. It's Al Holler, man. It's me. Man.
Oh, okay,
Al.
Al. All right,
man.
you D-town now, Al. Let's talk about your team. Because, hey, man, this is a throwdown. We talking about the NBA. Let's talk about your team. You let Tobias Harris go. You got Jaylen Duren out there on a restricted free agency.
That's on his
He's
own.
going
Keep
out there
that in
seeing the
mind.
Lakers. He's going out there kissing on other babies. You sign Isaiah Joe. What are you guys? Who are you guys going to get to help Cade Cunningham? Talk to me about that.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't know who they gonna get. I don't know who they gonna get, to be honest with you, because I thought they was gonna get the Powell, but I think he went to Chicago today.
Yeah, Norman Powell signed with Chicago.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know.
That would have been a nice pickup, because my thing is, when you look, you're talking about the number 1 seed. You clearly did not produce in the playoffs, and you've got Cade Cunningham, who's a superstar. But Jaylen Duren did not do anything. And then you let your other big man go, Isaiah Stewart. He got traded for picks. What is Detroit? I don't see. It looks like they're taking a step back. Do you feel that they're taking a step back?
Trajan Langdon, man. I mean, he the general man. I mean, you got to figure out what his mindset is, man. I think with Jaylen Duren, man, I'll be honest with you, that playoff run might have been a little bit too much for him. I think everything was coming at him a little bit too fast. And I don't, and I'll be honest with you, when Cade got that injury in the middle of the season, people forget. They played the Knicks, man, and blew the Knicks out, man, at the Little Caesars, man. And I think late January, man. And everybody pretty much said the Pistons was going to make it to the finals. I mean, the Eastern Conference Finals. I just don't think they never recovered, man. The Pistons never recovered when they got injured, then they end up losing in the semis to Cleveland. I'll tell you this though, Mr. Campbell, it's yet to be seen what they're gonna do, man. I just think Trajan Langdon got a different philosophy, and I don't know if it's on the same as the coach, man. To be honest with you.
Now let me ask you this,
even when they win in the draft, man.
Go ahead. I wanted to ask Mr. Campbell a question about these GMs and how they're trading these players in the first years of their contract rather than extending them. Are they doing that to avoid some kind of financial liability that they're going to take on because the players that they're drafted are actually performing and they may demand a higher rate than they are comfortable with paying these guys? Like there's so many guys now. This is something that never used to happen in the NBA. Guys were never really traded out of the first year out of their contract. The drafted teams always renewed their contracts pretty much, especially if they performed, at a high level. And now you see guys getting packed. You got to remember, guys like Tobias Harris got a max contract when his time was up, when he was with Philly, I believe.
Yeah, he did get.
So my point is, are they trying to avoid paying these guys these max deals in the first window that they're eligible for to extend their contract?
Well, let me tell you, and Herb could probably talk about this too. The biggest thing that happened in the last collective bargaining agreement was what they call the second apron. And though it is so punitive, and the amount of money, because remember, okay, so I think people don't understand, when people go over these thresholds, what happens is they pay a money into the pool, right? And then it gets redispersed out to all the other teams. So if you remember, James Dolan, literally, a day after the Knicks won the championship, he's on the radio station up there in New York, and he's like, we're not going over second apron. We're not paying that. Now, this is a team that if you're going to go to second apron, you do it to bring a championship team back. And Dolan, who has no problem with money, let's be clear, one of the richest owners in the NBA, is talking about the second apron. Be clear, one of the reasons why Jaylen Brown, which I believe is the real reason, remember, Boston just got sold to a private equity group. Those guys are all about money. They want to increase value, and they're going to flip that thing, right? 5-10 years down the road, be worth $15-20 billion. What's going to happen is between him And Jason Tatum alone, they might be close to 60% of the cap. So they're going to be pushing the second eight. Well, I'm talking about Rocky, $100+ million.
They were currently 70% of the cap.
So there you go.
The trade.
So they're even going to go higher than that then.
Yeah.
So I thought it was 60. So they're saying, so
yeah, they were 70% of the projected cap.
So Jaylen will be getting $70 million. When JT comes up, he will be getting $100 million. So this is why you see a lot of these guys that are looking at players that can get that next contract because they're playing against the second April, which is what they want to do, but it has the consequences of not being able to build a team. Because what's happening is because even Oklahoma City, they've done well. Why do you think they start shipping guys out? Those bottom line guys. Because they got all those draft picks, they said we'll use these rookies and hope that they'll develop.
The problem I have with it is the bird rights and things of that nature supposedly gave the players that stayed under the drafted teams that teams have flexibility with retaining those players. But if
that got changed with the second apron.
That's what I'm saying. If they never use a team's bird rights, what ends up happening is the NBA teams have an artificial salary cap that nobody has to abide by. You understand what I'm saying? Like you have a cap that nobody's gonna go over. Nobody's gonna go over that second apron.
Going to do? Well, no, hold on. So let me tell you what's going to happen. And Boston's a perfect example. You'll pay one guy that bird right max because you still get more money by staying with your team. Mm-hmm. The problem is you can't pay the second guy, or you're not going to pay the second guy. You see what I'm saying? So you have to make a choice, which Boston is doing and which a lot of other teams are doing. See, this is the thing which is so valuable. And Rocky, this is a great point. Wow. I understand why he did it, but listen to what James Dolan said. You've got my guy, Jalen Brunson. He takes $100 million pay cut to bring a championship. He thinks he's going to get rewarded. James Dolan like, I don't know about that. You see what I'm saying? He's already said he's not going over. So he took $100 million that he's never going to get back. So once you don't get it, you don't get it back. But that's not how it works. Because the way he plays, he was going to get a big contract anyway. So that $100 million
but
never
you get to
made
play
up.
for your daddy, though.
Yeah, well, would you play for your daddy and lose $100 million?
No.
My daddy could come visit me.
Yeah, and I think
go ahead, Herb.
I think also, the long-term effects of what you're talking about is teams are going to think twice about investment and player development. That's ultimately what's going to be the end result, particularly for franchises that are looking, to actually move up into the middle and the upper tiers and be able to actually compete, get to playoffs, win championships. What's going to end up happening, the talent that's going to really incur those big time deals is still going to incur them because, unfortunately, that's just the way the league is structured. And the teams that have the money, they're willing to take that bump, willing to pay that penalty to get somebody, that they really, really want. They'll incur it. But it's the franchises that are building, and this is why this is why, the draft, the G League, and some of these other places where there's a whole lot of talent is so important because if you want to win now, but you're handicapped by what you're looking at, financially, you're going to have to look at other places for talent. You're going to have to look at other places to bring talent that fits the system, that fits the philosophy of those squads and develop it. And, you get that from a couple places. You can, bring them from overseas, from different leagues. You can, go the college route, obviously, and bring in, you roll the dice in terms of what kind of class is coming in. This year was a bumper crop in terms of talent, in terms of class. So this was that's a good bet, but every draft ain't going to be like that. Every draft ain't going to be deep. So, what's going to happen, and NBA franchises and management are going to have to really, adjust with the times is figure out where they can get value without incurring that type of penalty. And that value means player development. It means finding, diamonds in the rough that match your system. If you play a specific system, like I look at teams like Golden State, that play a specific system, look for specific pieces and skill sets, that make that system effective. Those are easier fits than, relying on somebody that you build a system around, because you're not going to find those talents all the time. And the talents that are in the league, Father Time is undefeated. The player that you had today that you could build a system around ain't going to be the same player a couple of years down the road where you can build a system around. So, you have to, that is to me, it's a really big thing, and it's something that's going to really, shape how how franchises go forward.
Well, unlike the NFL, the NBA is a superstar league. In the NFL is the rank and file league. Like it was, as much as we want to, NBA is ran by superstars. And what you're essentially saying to me, Herb, what I hear is the superstar is going to be devalued so that they could have a collection of talent that possibly could get the same level of performance out of multiple guys, right? So you trade a Jaylen. Follow this. You trade a Jalen Brunson in hopes to get that production through 3 or 4 guys.
Well, let me back up a minute.
Not Brunson, but Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown. You trade Brown.
But see, that's the thing. The premise that this is just a superstar league is kind of a misnomer, because regardless of, don't get me wrong, there are a ton of superstars in the league, but superstars don't just win you championships. Systems where superstars fit at do. So, that's just like we were just having a conversation about Luka Doncic and the LA Lakers and that lineup. Luka is a bona fide superstar. On certain nights he could carry a squad, but what you have around him and the system that's run around him is just as important.
But this is what I'm saying is, like, championships follow stardom in the NBA. Giannis won the MVP, then he won championships. Joker won the MVP, then he won championships. Shea won MVPs, win championship. That's always been the trajectory in the NBA since I've been living. Guys establish themselves as a superstar and then they win championships. Do you see that dynamic changing?
No, I don't. But I think it's a little bit more than that. Yeah, those instances, what you just laid out, players that, became superstars on their squads and went on to win championships, is correct to an extent. In other words, that Giannis squad, that when he became MVP of that squad because that system was built around him. The pieces were built around him. Okay. They were so effective in the playoff and 7-game series because, those matchups, those adjustments weren't being addressed by anybody, anytime they played. And, having that superstar puts you over the top, but you don't get there unless you have a system built around it. That's kind of the disagreement that I have with people that frame the narrative of the NBA or any league like that as just a superstar-driven league. Because even though you got superstars and they make a difference, you got to have a team around them, and you got to have a system where those superstars are maximized to be the most effective possible.
But then you also you see a guy like, and the reason why, and I'm just pushing back somewhat to say that you can even see when a situation where teams aren't built, you see movement when Kawhi goes to Toronto, who is a bona fide superstar. When he gets traded to Toronto, they win championships. So that's what I'm saying is, like, it's almost like they're trying to devalue or minimize the impact of a superstar. And in LeBron's era, multiple superstars brought you championships. And so I'm just simply saying it seems like they don't want to go that route anymore. They want to try to win with less superstars on one roster.
I don't necessarily agree. I think this is more so, besides the financial piece of it, this is more so about parity. And this is more so about, just at the end of the day, continuing to make the league a very entertaining product to play and to watch. The reality is that, we could talk superstars and who is and who isn't and how they fit into the framework in NBA until we're blue in the face. All you have to do is look at the squad that just won the NBA championship to let you know that that's not always the case. Jalen Brunson is a killer. Hart was a killer. Mikal Bridges was a killer. All three of those guys won championships at Villanova. They won and they're NBA champions. And that entire squad, Big Cat was a big part of that squad. And he's probably he could be, recognized as a superstar. But at the same time, it was the collective sum of those parts in that system that won them the championship. On paper, you looked at that San Antonio squad with the superstar, probably arguably the biggest superstar in the game, this year in Wemby. They rolled through the Western Conference Finals, Western Conference playoffs, and got to the finals, and a system beat the superstar. So when people talk about the game like that, don't get it twisted. The NBA is the type of game where, there are certain things that are emphasized. Offensive, production is emphasized. Freedom of movement and freedom of creativity is emphasized in NBA game. But when it comes down to playoff basketball, 5-game series, 7-game series, where, every nuance about the game is noticed and planned for and game planned for, that's where systems come into play at. And that's, you can have a superstar that's great. You could have a LeBron or a Steph that's great. But if you don't have a system that maximizes their talents, when you get into those playoff situations and those games where coaches make adjustments on a nightly basis or on a quarterly basis, that's what makes the difference. And then you put we look at a good example is the Golden State squads where when KD and all those guys were on the same squad. Nobody could game plan for those guys because everybody played a role well. And they played in that system where all of those skill sets were matched to a T. You stretch the floor, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys that can stretch the floor. Who are you going to, pick your poison? You come out and you extend out on the defense on these guys, they can go right by you. And, they got a guy that could clean up. They had a guy that could clean up the glass. They didn't need anybody else. But that's how that system was designed. And, you plug in a guy that is a 6'10", 7-foot guy that could, shoot the three like a guard, that can take you off the dribble like a guard. It's a cheat code in that system.
They had three superstars, bro.
Three superstars. They had 3 superstars, but that system that Steve Kerr ran maximized everybody. And this is now, when we have these discussions, Rocky, because this isn't the first time we've had these discussions. Okay. Mm-hmm. As a basketball guy, the superstar is great. The superstar that fits in a system and can maximize his talent is better. That's just like, for a football analogy. If you got a superstar quarterback, okay, you got a superstar quarterback, but you plug him into the wrong system, what's going to happen?
He could struggle.
Exactly.
Well,
the same premise applies to basketball.
I think basketball, and like I say, more about basketball, far more about basketball than I do. But I think basketball is always one of those situations where especially when they trade or draft a guy, they tend to mold whatever system they have around the skill set that player possesses rather than try to plug them into something that already exists. Now, that's how I see it as a basket. Like LeBron has done the same thing that he's done on every team that he's been on, other than this year, where he was more of a off the ball kind of player, whatever. But for 21 years, he was a play initiator, a playmaker, or whatever. The same role.
21 years. Let's be real. LeBron is a unicorn. Okay, you could plug LeBron. There have been a handful of players in the last 20, 25 years that you could plug in 1 through 5 potentially, and LeBron is one of them. So he's an outlier rather than the actual median when it comes to that. But you're correct, depending on the team and the system you're talking about. In some cases, yeah, they'll bring on a player. If that player has certain special skill set, they'll mold a system around that player. And vice versa. If that player has a specific skill set that will help that system and he can be a difference maker in that system, they'll plug him in where he will be maximized.
I'll just say this, and in my lifetime, the Knicks have been the most starless team that has ever won a championship in my lifetime. And I'm 56 years old. For my entire life that I've been watching basketball, probably since 81, there's always been a star on the championship team. Most of the time, there's been multiple stars.
Well,
right?
Again.
But the Knicks, if you put Cat and Brunson together, I don't think they equate to the stardom that existed on the Golden State Warriors or even Giannis's team. Because Giannis's team was even had a big three that they coined the big three with Drew, Middleton, and Giannis. You know what I mean? So I'm just simply saying that the NBA, the stars have run the league for years in the NBA. I don't think that's much of it's not a stretch to say that.
It's not. Look, let me put this another way. Okay, the stars bring eyes and they run the league to an extent. In order for you to win championships, you have to have stars, but you also have to have systems that work. In other words, you could put LeBron, Steph, and a handful of other stars all on the same squad. And if the system don't work, there are not enough balls that's going to get them to the championship. So, when we say that, stars matter and stars make a difference. But you can't say that, in lieu of where they're placed at, how they're utilized, what system they're running. What is the coach thinking about when they bring this guy in to do X, Y, and Z? So, to say that the league is star-driven, yeah, that's accurate. But it's also accurate to say that, hey, when you get to playoff basketball, simply just being a star ain't enough. You got to have a system that maximizes your talents. And like I said, this New York squad that just won, it could be argued that, yeah, you had some all-pros on that squad. Brunson is an all-pro. Hart is an all-defensive player. Mikal Bridges has been, a swingman extraordinaire, two-way player, one of the best in the league, for a minute. Cat is probably as close to a, superstar as you got. And that roster is deep as hell. And
all those players were traded from the teams that drafted them. If they
exactly.
were highly regarded, they would still be on the rosters.
That's not really accurate, dude. And to be quite honest with you, we see this every year. Anytime there's not a system fit, you see cats get traded. If you don't,
so you mean to tell me if Brunson was highly regarded, he would have.
Brunson has been highly regarded every place he's played. Point. You don't make NBA All Pro not being highly regarded, dude. That doesn't make any sense.
No, the person that made a mistake on that rocket was the Dallas Mavericks. But this is not unusual.
And Cat also was traded as well.
But wait a minute. But let me jump in there, okay? Because I can answer that.
Yeah,
Cat was traded because Minnesota didn't want to go over the apron, so they pimped them. Your boy Mark Cuban did the same thing with Steve Nash. He didn't feel that Brunson was worth the money. He let him ride out. OG Anunoby got traded because Toronto, and look at those picks, Toronto was rebuilding after the championship team, and Mikal Bridges got on the team because New York gave up 4 first-rounders that Stephen A. cried about until this year. So if you look at it, that's why you got to give Leon Rose and Worldwide West a lot of credit.
No doubt.
It wasn't that these players weren't wanted. They went out and gave value for those players, and there were financial reasons or rebuilding that a lot of those guys got back to those teams.
My only point was, Steve, that if you are bona fide superstars in the NBA, history says you stay with the team that drafted you.
Luka got traded to the Lakers.
But he signed a max deal already when he got traded. He had already signed a max deal.
But I'm saying that you see it. Jaylen Brown just got traded.
Again, this is a new era of the NBA. That's not what has always happened in the past. When you got them, and I'm talking about guys who were considered superstars. It was an anomaly when Charles Barkley got traded to Phoenix. That's not something that typically happened. When Moses Malone got traded to Philly, those are anomalies. Like those things don't happen very often. And now it seems like it's happening. It's much.
I don't agree with that at all, man. I
don't think superstars in the NBA get traded in their prime typically. That's just.
Well, I think the error to your point, Rocky, I think your point is valid, but it's because of the new financial being that those guys wouldn't make that amount of money. So it didn't matter, and you kept players. And I think Damon, which shout out to Damon, he's been on it in the chat. The contract, you got to remember when guys would come out of college, they were signing 10-year, $60 million contracts. 10 years.
Yeah, you're right.
So guys will say, Chris Webber came out, moved around a couple of times.
Yeah, but Chris Webber signed those voidable deals where he had, if he made all NBA his rookie year, he was able to void the rest of his contract. So that's why
but what I'm saying, but to Herm's point, when you see that, it's a little bit, both of you guys are saying the same thing. Well, not the same thing, but both of you guys are right. Yeah. But it's based off of what you're looking at, the prism that you're looking at. And only reason why I use the Knicks, because, and I think this is something, then we'll shut it down because we're on a long time. Yeah. But one of the things is about Jalen Brunson, and I think this has been an argument. We got to say it. Jalen Brunson's a superstar.
And I'm going to tell you.
People keep downplaying that he's not.
Yeah.
But Jalen Brunson
a championship. Matter of fact, if they don't re-sign Jalen Brunson to what he signed for 301, 303, something like that when he signed, if they don't keep him and Tatum in their the first time they were up for to re-sign, they don't win that championship.
No, they don't.
If either one of those guys are on any other team, they don't win that championship.
And we're going to find out, and Boston's going to find out real quick how much it is to miss Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
Because they're really going to take that for granted.
And just to add to that point, Jaylen Brown, not only losing him, was really a dumb move I don't care how anybody slices, Boston is really, really idiotic for that. But the fact that they went to a division rival and a division rival that was a perfect fit for this guy, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that when we talk about these trades and we talk about what runs the league and what is the margin of error between who wins championships and who don't, like I said, superstars are important. Absolutely right. I have no qualms with what Rocky laid out there. But it's not just that. That's the whole point. That's the way basketball is. You can, when you get, particularly NBA basketball, where things get infinitely harder in the playoffs, in playoff series where every adjustment, every attention to detail is paramount. Every adjustment is looked at. Every matchup, every series is looked at. If you don't have a way to manipulate those matchups and find the weaknesses, regardless of whether you're talking about superstars or not, you got a problem. And that's what wins championships. That's exactly, like I said, this playoffs is a perfect example of that. San Antonio had the biggest mismatch in the entire playoffs in Wemby. Nobody could adjust to them in the West. And the way that the Knicks adjusted to him was to keep the ball out of his hands and put pressure on the rest of his supporting staff, which he did. And that's what won him. You know, offensively, they did the same thing, you know, and they had, I mean, whether you want to, you know, whether people want to admit it or not, that entire starting five of New York are some damn killers.
Oh, well, that's facts. That's
all of those guys, all of those
teams. Yeah,
all of those guys have championship experience at every level they played at. You got 3 guys that won an NCAA national championship. 2 of them. Okay, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, you know, and Mikal Bridges. They're part of 2 national championship teams. All of them playing on the same squad, same starting lineup. You know, Anobi is an X factor. That dude's a Swiss Army knife on both ends of the floor, and he made the difference in the series. He did. People don't consider him a superstar, but they don't win that series without that guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where, you know, like I said, and this is not Rocky. I think Rocky, you got some really good observations, you know, but I just want to emphasize for people that are watching. Well, I don't disagree with that either. I think OKC's injuries hurt them a lot.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's a good point as well.
And that's why they're going to run it back.
Right. They're going to run it back. But I want people to understand this as when it relates to the NBA, because there's so many other things that tie into it. When players come into the league and we see players have certain types of impact. Like, a good example of this is, you know, a couple of years back, we were making a mental note of how many European cats were coming from, you know, Spanish leagues and other overseas leagues are coming into the league and making impact because of how fundamentally sound they were, you know, at the 4 or 5 and sometimes at the 3 position, because they just played a game a different way until the speed caught up to them in the game, and then they started looking, you know, pedestrian. So this is again, this is one of those things that, you know, when we talk basketball, and I talk particularly NBA basketball, because obviously, you know, you look at the NBA game, it's light years away from what you see in college. Just too many differences to get into. But when we talk about superstars and the like, superstars make all the difference in the world in the right system. And like I said, it's, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, both things are right. You know, like I said, yeah, it's a superstar-driven league, and that's what brings eyes. But what wins championships is both of those factors.
You know, my last point is that what I don't make about, and as you mentioned, the Euros, I always bring to a point that I think is probably, and you guys can, you know, we can debate this point at another time, but I wanted to mention this. Historically, Euro superstars haven't been able to deliver championship success. I think Dirk and Joker are the only 2 superstars that I can think of. I
said that you're absolutely right. The outliers. Yep. I think the last.
They're outliers in that regard. Yeah. But I will say this: Euro role players have historically played a significant role, whether it be Ginobili, Kukoc, and things like that, in championship squads. But being the lead guys, they have not had a lot of success. And I'll even put Giannis in that category of not having success, because he's been ousted several times in series where they were the favorites. You know what I mean? And he got put out. But that was just a point I was making. I know a lot of people don't think of Giannis as a Euro, but he's definitely him and Wemby are definitely Euros.
He's a Euro dude. I mean, if you don't think Giannis is a Euro, then you're not watching the game. But yeah, I mean, to that point, I think you know, until we've seen Jokic, you know, come into the league, and Jokic again is one of those unicorn type cats. You know, regardless of where he's playing at, whether it's overseas or in the NBA, his skill set sets him apart from everybody else. You know, it's not often you see a guy at that size that can move that well, that can pass the ball that well, that can facilitate offense the way he does. to get everybody involved and be the scoring type of big man, and finesse big man that he is. So, I put Joker in another category.
Yeah.
Simply, like you put Wemby in another category because of his physical tools. So, when we see European cats come in the league, and I'll just make this distinction before we close out. The one thing that I see when I see European guys coming from different leagues and coming into the NBA is twofold. One, these guys are seasoned because they're already playing professional basketball. Okay.
That's a big point.
If you're, we talk about European guys being developed and far ahead. You got to remember, these guys are playing pro ball in academies before they get to the Barcelonas or to the Besticases or whatever, academy teams that play, pro ball in these Turkish or Spanish or Portuguese leagues before they come over. And then when they come over, they grow them in. So, we have to kind of take that type of development in a grain of salt. That's why, and EA just made a really good point. That's why the French and Canada, the way they develop their way they've developed players, Canadians are more similar to us because they're tied into our, into our development system in terms of AAU and the high school college ball. But when we talk about the Euros and stuff, yeah, man, that, you can plug those guys in pretty much anywhere. They may not have the top end superstar, return that we've seen out of people, but you're going to see more of them in the league. So,
all right, I'm gonna close it out. EA, I'm gonna say this real quick. Where is this at? Here's the thing. Just real quick. This is gonna be very interesting with this Olympic team because this is gonna be the transition year. I don't believe LeBron's not gonna be there. Steph's not gonna play. Kevin Durant is a hooper. I would not be shocked if Kevin Durant is around. He still will go out and play because that's just the way he is. But the rest of it, it's going to be a transition. It's going to be very interesting. So I just want to, we'll you know what? That'll be a show, EA, when we get down the road and everything. But listen, man, I want to close this out. First of all, Herb, listen, man, appreciate you coming on. One topic, NBA basketball. We usually don't do this in this HBCU spaces. I think this was a little bit different. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. Rocky, I'm gonna call you after this because I'm gonna tell you what my idea was. But I appreciate you. And Scott had to get off because you gotta go to work tomorrow probably and everything and take care of them babies, my man. Hey, we had to free Offscript, man. I had to figure out a way to free my boy. So man, we're gonna keep this concept going, man. One topic, NBA, NFL. Might talk a little Major League Baseball. Major college. Like I say, again, we still gonna do HBCU coaches going on Tuesdays. Still gonna be doing sipping on Sunday. We're gonna have Herb on there. Herb and them is gonna be doing their thing on HBC Weekly. Herb is gonna do his thing. So we have a lot of HBCU stuff. But I think we have enough talent for us to talk about a couple other things because we are talking about these things. You know what I mean? We're definitely talking about it, and we could talk about it in our own HBCU space and not let Colin Cowherd say he knows people. Because guess what, Colin? I know people too. Because guess what? I'm making a phone call to somebody I know coaches at Boston, and I'll let y'all figure out who that is. Because that's around me and Rocky's age. Because I'm going to figure that's out, but that Jaylen Brown thing. I'm not believing what I'm hearing. I just don't believe that. I believe in the end, what I'm going to hear, see, I'm going to be honest, it's really the money. They didn't want to pay that boy $7 million a year.
I got a bootleg theory. Is that my man want to cut, what's my man name? Butler. That's from Butler, the GM.
Brad Stevens.
Brad Stevens wants to coach again. And his key to coaching again is tanking the team so he can fire Missoula and come off the.
Well, they ran his ass up out of it. That's the reason why he went upstairs because he couldn't handle them boys. So now that's interesting because that's the reason why he ran upstairs because they ran him up out of it. He couldn't handle.
But I don't think very much of Missoula. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. But Missoula, we're gonna see what Missoula's all about.
Right
now because he has much less talent than he did a couple days ago. And we'll see what he can, see what he can manufacture with what he has.
Okay, last one. What you got?
Yeah, I think Missoula's in a tough spot, and not necessarily because he just has less talent. I think that atmosphere of Boston, when you're not when you don't have the tools to coach there, it can be a tough place to coach. And not just because, they have a storied history, is because that city is really unforgiving in a lot of ways when it comes to, minorities in general. And I don't want to, I don't like to put it in that in those shades and that terms, but we've seen that happen a lot.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm more power to him, man. He gonna need it after getting ready to do. So,
all right, Herb, tell them where they can find you at.
Yeah, man. HBCU content, HBCU basketball content, man. You can find me on Twitter. Yeah, and I'm going to continue to call it Twitter because that's what his mama named it. At HBCU Hoops Weekly. That's at HBCUHW. That's the Twitter feed. And you can also find content at hbcuhoopsweekly.com. And the podcast will be back.
See, Herb comes over here and can be the smartest person in the room, Rocky. So he can come over here
absolutely
and talk. See, we let him talk.
He can educate us folks.
Hey, man, so listen. Just to let you know, I have my co-host, my Rocky, my guy. So, man, listen, this was a Thursday. It was the Throwdown, man, new show that we're probably going to keep it going on the Rocky Miller channel and the Offscript channel. Like I say, talking NBA, talking NFL, talking major college football. We got enough HBCU stuff. Me and Rocky going to get together. I know Rocky's a football guy because I already got a topic for Rocky for next week to see if he's interested in it. And let him run the show for football. But Herb, we're going to have you back because guess what, Herb? Summer League starts next week. It might be some things we might have to talk about the week after that. And some more trades go. When Summer League happens, I'm a big Summer League guy. I was trying to get out there, but I got some meetings I got to take. So, I'm
already following Summer League, man, because there's some HBCU talent that have made rosters already. So I'm gonna be following.
So this is what we might do. We might do a throwdown. We might have a small segment of the guys that are playing in Summer League. Because again, I want to keep this more pro, but they're in the pros. You know what I'm saying? And do a little something about that. Because Summer League, again, that's gonna be a big deal. And you know how the NBA does it. They got Peterson and AJ DeBanza playing first night, 9 p.m. So I think that's actually next Thursday. So, we might be around to see if we can jump on me and Rocky and everything.
As a Wizards fan, I'm going to be front and center. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. EA, appreciate you, man. And let me say this real quick, man. All of you all that come on when y'all see that alert, man, no matter what, we appreciate you all, man. You all know who you are and stuff like that. So, man, we appreciate it, man. Once again, it's Thursday night. It's the Throwdown. We will see you maybe next Thursday. Me and Rocky get together. And hopefully we can get Scott on here every week or at least every other week when there's a topic that he wants to talk about. And Herb, my brother, I love you. I appreciate you, man. And like I said, you always got a home over here with your other cousins, all right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, this is the Throwdown. Keep it throwing. Thanks, guys.
Deuces.